Ẹ káàsán, ẹ kú òwúrọ̀, ẹ kú àjálẹ́ ní gbogbo ibi tí ẹ ti ń gbọ́ wa. Ẹ káàbọ̀ sí ìkànnì Fáàtì Òkodoro. Ìkànnì yìí níbí yìí la ti ń fọ́ pákútàrá ọ̀rọ̀. Níbí yìí la ti ń sọ òkodoro nípa ọ̀rọ̀ Ọlọ́run. Níbí yìí la ti kí ń mòmúlòmú. Níbí yìí la ti kí ń fi ẹ̀kọ́ tanná fúnra wa. Mo kí yín káàbọ̀ lórúkọ Ọlọ́run Baba, Ọmọ àti Ẹ̀mí Mímọ́. Mo wá gbàládùá pé ní ìgbẹ̀yìn ìbùkún yóò jẹ́ tàwọn ọmọ Ọlọ́run, ògo yóò jẹ́ ti Ọlọ́run alààyè, ìtìjú yóò jẹ́ ti Sátánì. Ní àìdènà pẹnu, arákùnrin Emergency Star tí gbogbo ayé mọ̀ sí Fuad, àwọn ni wọ́n fẹ́ dá wa lẹ́kọ̀ọ́ ní ìrọ̀lẹ́ yìí. Wọ́n sì ń sọ fún wa wípé àwọn lè ṣàlàyé fún wa o pé Kùránì ìdáàbòbò Kùránì òun nìkan tó fẹ́ dá wa lẹ́kọ̀ọ́ lórí. A sì máa fún wọn bí 30 ìṣẹ́jú kí wọ́n fún wa ní ìdánilẹ́kọ̀ọ́ wọn bí òye ti yé wọn tó pé wọ́n dáàbòbò Kùránì. Mr. Fuad, mo fẹ́ kẹ́ kọ́kọ́ kí àwọn èèyàn tí ó ń gbọ́ wa. Ó lè pé ọjọ́ tèmi kọ́ ni a máa ń ṣe program, so a lè má rí èèyàn rẹpẹtẹ ní ọ̀sán yìí, ṣùgbọ́n àwọn èèyàn máa padà wò lẹ́yìn ọ̀rẹ̀yìn. Ẹ bá wa kí àwọn aráalé ká tó tẹ̀síwájú.
Yes, okay. Assalamu alaikum gbogbo ilé. So mo kí ẹ̀yin Christian, ẹ̀yin Muslim, ẹ̀yin free thinker àti àwọn oníṣẹ̀ṣe tó bá ń wo program yìí later. So nǹkan tí màá sọ ni pé Quran ni òun nìkan ní gbogbo àwọn ìwé tọ́lọ́run reveal, àwọn bíi Psalms, Sabura, Torah, gbogbo tọ́lọ́run reveal, Quran nìkan ni ó wà preserve. Gbogbo àwọn èyí tó kù wọ́n ti ní kọ́lọ́fín. So òun náà ni mo dẹ̀ fẹ́ prove lénìí fún gbogbo àgbáyé kó lè mọ̀ pé Quran is the only book that has been preserved right from the time of Prophet Muhammad. And gbogbo àwọn tó máa ń criticize Quran, wọ́n máa ń criticize it before Uthman. Ní pé okay, Uthman jó àwọn kan, èyí tó jó yẹn kí ló dé tó jó yẹn. But láti Uthman títí di àsìkò tá a wà yìí, kò sẹ́ni tí ó criticize ẹ̀. So that's just my opening speech.
Okay, ẹ ṣeun, ẹ káàbọ̀. Arákùnrin Baby Code, ẹ káàbọ̀ sórí ètò.
Yes, sir.
Arákùnrin Fuad ló ní àwọn ṣàfẹ́ ṣàlàyé fún wa preservation of the Quran. So a fẹ́ gbà wọ́n láàyè bí 30 ìṣẹ́jú kán fún wa ní gbogbo ẹ̀rí wọn. Lẹ́yìn àwọn ìbéèrè tá a bá ní á wá bí wọ́n. Ohun tí ń tá a sáré ṣe lálẹ́ yìí nìyẹn. So 30 minutes Mr. Fuad ẹ ní lo gbogbo ẹ̀rí tẹ́ ẹ bá ní, tẹ́ bá fẹ́ ká share lójú screen, tẹ́ bá fẹ́ nǹkan tẹ́ bá fẹ́ ṣe, tẹ́yìn náà bá dẹ̀ lè share screen yín, ẹ share screen yín fáwọn aráalé. Gbogbo ẹ̀rí yẹn má mú ẹ̀rí látòrí yín, kẹ̀dẹ̀ kì í ṣe eléèkéwu. Ṣe debate, it's not a debate. You have your 30 minutes.
But you are not here on Facebook. What happened? You guys are not on Facebook.
We are on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter.
No, the program is not on Facebook.
It's on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. Mẹ́tẹ̀ẹ̀ta ló wà. So ẹ fi yẹn lẹ̀, gbogbo bí táwọn wà nìyẹn. We are on Facebook, Twitter, and ẹ wo Facebook yín dáadáa. Ẹ jẹ́ kí n wò bẹ́ẹ̀, ẹ jẹ́ kí n wò.
Kò sí mbẹ̀.
Ẹ má wọrí, ẹ jẹ́ kí n wò. Àwọn Facebook kò sí mbẹ̀ kẹ́. Ń bọ̀ tí ò bá sí mbẹ̀ màá mọ̀ nísìnyí. Ẹ̀yin náà lè máa bá mi yẹ̀wò Baby Code. Ṣáà sí ní Facebook ni. A wà live on Facebook o. Ṣé kí n gbọ́ play fún yín kẹ́ gbọ́? Ṣáà sí ní Facebook ni. Ṣé ti ń gbọ́?
Okay, bóyá network tèmi dẹ̀ ni. Okay.
Ṣé ti ń gbọ́ play fún yín kẹ́ gbọ́? Facebook látòrí fóònù mi ni ẹ̀ ń gbọ́ yẹn. Ṣé ti ń gbọ́?
Okay, bóyá network tèmi dẹ̀ ni. Okay.
So our live on Facebook, àwọn èèyàn dẹ̀ wà níbẹ̀ tán ti ń comment. Yes, àwọn èèyàn ṣe ti rí, ẹ jẹ́ kí n fún yín ní comment àwọn èèyàn ti wà ní ṣe ti rí. Ṣe rí pé àwọn èèyàn wo comment tó wà lójú screen.
Okay, kò sí wàhálà.
Láti Facebook. So kò sí nǹkan tó ṣe Facebook. Eh, Mr. Fuad,
Yes, sir.
èyí tẹ́ fẹ́ ṣàlàyé fún wa lálẹ́ yìí, òun ni ṣé lóòótọ́ ni a dáàbò bo Kùránì? Was Quran actually preserved? And you have 30 minutes. Mi mọ̀ bí abébí kò ṣe ń bá mi wo aago, mo lè má lè ṣe déédéé pẹ̀lú aago.
Yes, 307 ló lù. So with
Yeah.
337, I should be done.
A dẹ̀ máa
Okay.
a máa tẹ́ bá ti parí tán, we have some questions to ask you lórí nǹkan tẹ́ bá dá wa lẹ́kọ̀ọ́ lé
Okay.
lórí.
Oh,
Go ahead. Àwọn ará ìyẹn ará lé táwọn àwọn èèyàn tó wà ní comment section ẹ jọ̀ọ́ gbogbo ohun tí arákùnrin Fuad bá sọ ẹ máa send the question yín, ẹ máa kọ ní question. Ẹ jẹ́ kí n fi yín lápẹẹrẹ so that a lè rí lórí ìbéèrè nǹkan tán sọ ni o, lórí ẹ̀kọ́ tán bá dá wa, ẹ jẹ́ ká farabalẹ̀, ẹ jẹ́ kí nǹkan kan máa ṣe bá ṣe máa ṣe the question. A wàá sọ pé mo kàn fẹ́ fi ṣàpẹẹrẹ ni o, mo fi ṣàpẹẹrẹ fún wa ni tá a lè rí nǹkan tí mo sọ is the Quran preserved. Ṣètìrì bí mo ṣe kọ́ ẹ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ ṣe kọ́ nìyẹn. Ṣètìrì ẹ kọ question, a lè mọ̀ pé kì í ṣe comment pé question la fẹ́ rẹ rí bá ṣe kọ́ ẹ̀, ẹ kàn lò bí àpẹẹrẹ. So Ọlọ́run á ràn wá lọ́wọ́. Mr. Fuad, go ahead.
All right. So what I would like to talk about the preservation of the Quran, because I've said it earlier that all the other books were not preserved. I'm talking about the Psalms of David, the Moses, and other ones. They were not preserved intact. It was only the Quran that was preserved, because all the other books, they have defaults. They have defaults that it's impossible for any right thinking person to follow such. And the text of the Quran has been preserved intact, and every word of it has come down to us as free from interference and interpolation, and as at when it was revealed to the Holy Prophet 1,350 years ago. Now, the Quran began to be revealed at the outset of the mission of the Holy Prophet. The first revelation comprises only a few verses and was received by the Prophet in the Hira cave. Thereafter, the revelation continued till his death. Though the total period during which the entire Quran was revealed extended to 23 years, and we know on the basis of the testimony of his contemporaries that in the beginning, revelation came to the Prophet at intervals and in small bits, but as time passed, it grew both in volume and in frequency, till in the last years of his life, it swelled into an almost continuous stream. One reason for this was that the teachings contained in this revelation were altogether novel, and it was not easy for people to grasp their full significance. Yes, are you hearing me, sir?
Go ahead.
Hello? Okay.
Go ahead, we are hearing you. You have your minute.
All right, okay. So during the when Islam grew well and Allah started sending longer revelation to the Quran, and another reason was that the number of Muslims was very small in the beginning, and as God intended that the text of the Quran should be preserved, that it should not become the subject of any doubt, only small portions were revealed at a time in the beginning, and there is always an interval, sometimes extending to several months between the revelation of one group of verses and the next. In this manner, the few Muslims were enabled to commit the whole revelation to memory so as to place the matter of preservation of the text beyond doubt. When the number of Muslims began to increase and the safeguarding and preservation of the text of the Quran became easier, the revelation began to arrive faster. Towards the close of the Holy Prophet's life, the number of Muslims exceeded 100,000, and the memorizing of the Quran became very easy. At that time, the revelation came faster still. By this divine plan, the purity of the text of the Quran was placed beyond doubt. And during the caliphate of Uthman, 7 copies of the Quran were dispatched to different parts of the Muslim world, and they in turn became the standard text from which other copies were made, and thereafter in each generation, hundreds of thousands of people have been in the habit of committing the entire text of the Quran to memory. Even the most, uh, the most, um, the most fiercest enemies of Islam, the critic of Islam. And what do they say? They um, they do not allege that there is any mistake with the text of the Quran. They believe that there is no mistake in the Quran from the time of Uthman. And those who seek to raise doubts regarding the purity of the text of the Quran direct their criticism to the period between the death of the Holy Prophet and the Caliphate of Uthman. So, whenever any portion of the Quran was revealed to the Holy Prophet, he used to commit it to memory. And as he continuously recited the Quran from one end to the other, he always carried the whole of the revealed Quran at all times in his memory. In addition to this, the following devices were adopted for safeguarding and preserving intact the text of the Quran. Number one, as soon as the revelation was revealed by the Holy Prophet, it was recorded in writing from his dictation. A number of persons are known to have been employed by the Holy Prophet for this purpose. Of these names of the following, 15 have been mentioned in the traditions. That's Fatul Bari, volume 9, page 19. We have Zaid bin Thabit, we have Ubay ibn Kab, we have Abdullah bin Sa'd bin Abi Sarah, we have Zubayr bin Awam, Khalid bin Said bin Al-As, Aban bin Said bin Al-As, and Zala bin Arabi Al-Asadi. We also have Muhaiki bin Abi Fatima, we have Abdullah bin Al-Kam Azuri, we have Shurabil bin Asana, Abdullah bin Rawaha, we have Abu Bakr, Umar, Uthman, and Ali. These are the 15 people employed by the Prophet that they used to keep the record in writing. So whenever the Holy Prophet received the revelation, he would send for one of these persons and dictate to him the text of the revelation he had received. So, as is well known, the 5 daily congregational prayer are obligatory upon every Muslim, and the portion of the Quran must be recited in each of them so that every Muslim knows some portion of the Quran by heart. If every 100 out of the Prophet companions, who numbered more than 100,000, had between them learned the whole of the Quran by heart, the entire Quran must have been preserved in the memory of his companions 1,000 times over. Now, the third point, the whole of the law, doctrine, philosophy, moral precepts, and other teachings of Islam are contained in the Quran. The building up and the fostering of a nation require the aid of all this. So the Holy Prophet used to train Muslims for the discharge of the multifarious duties and functions involved in the building up and direction of a civilized and cultured community. For instance, they needed judges, juries, explainers of doctrine, and those who explain the legal and moral injunction of Islam. And these people could not adequately discharge their functions unless they had learnt the Quran by heart. So all such people, therefore, were under necessity of committing the entire Quran to memory. Number 4, the Holy Prophet used always to stress the merit of committing the Quran to memory, so much that it's reported as having said that if a person commits the Quran to memory, he will be saved from the torment of hell. God had blessed the Holy Prophet with companions who were always eager to acquire merit in every way, so that when he made this announcement, very large numbers from among them began to commit the Quran to memory, including those whose education was not very clear, and many of them were not even men of learning. And there's a certain hadith related from Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal on the authority of Abdullah bin Umar that a man came to the Holy Prophet and said to him, "O Messenger of Allah, I memorize the Quran, but my mind does not grasp its full meaning." Now, what does this text shows us? It shows us that not only men of learning, but even common people were in the habit of committing the Quran to memory. Now, another tradition related by Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal on the same authority state that a man brought his son to the Holy Prophet and said, "O Messenger of Allah, this son of mine goes on reciting the Quran the whole day and spend his night in sleep." The Holy Prophet observed and he said, "Then why are you worried about him? Your son spent the day in the remembrance of God, and instead of committing any sin at night, spend it in restful sleep. This is the best." Now, from this statement of the Holy Prophet, this shows that even the common people living at a distance from the Holy Prophet had started the practice of committing the Quran to memory. And also, number 5, as the eagerness of the people for memorizing the Quran increased, the Holy Prophet appointed 4 principal teachers of the Quran who used to memorize it under the supervision of the Holy Prophet, and then taught other people to commit it to memory. These 4 in turn trained a number of others who became competent to teach the Quran. And who were these 4 people? Number 1, Abdullah bin Masud. Number 2, Salim Maula Abi Uzaifa. Number 3, Muhaz bin Jabal. Number 4, Ubay ibn Kab. Now, the first 2 of these were Meccans who had migrated to Medina, and the last 2 were Ansars. So Abdullah bin Masud used to occupy himself as a laborer. Salim was a freed slave, and Muhaz and Ubay were 2 of the leading men of Medina. Though the Holy Prophet appointed teachers of the Quran from among different sections so that nobody should have any difficulty in approaching them and learning from them. The Holy Prophet used to say, "Those of you who wish to learn the Quran should learn it from Abdullah bin Masud, Salim Maula Abi Uzaifa, Muhaz bin Habal, or Ubay ibn Kab." These 4 had learned the whole of the Quran under the supervision of the Holy Prophet. But many other of the companions of the Holy Prophet had also learned portions of it directly from him. It is related that on one occasion, when Abdullah bin Masud was reciting the Quran, Umar pointed out that a certain word should be pronounced in a particular way. Abdullah bin Masud protested that he had been taught by the Holy Prophet to pronounce it in the manner in which he had pronounced it. Umar took him to the Holy Prophet and complained that he did not recite the Quran correctly. The Holy Prophet asked him to recite the portion concerning which there was a difference of opinion between the 2. And when he recited it, the Prophet said he was quite right. Thereupon, Umar submitted that he had been taught by the Prophet to pronounce the word differently. The Prophet then asked him to recite the verse, and when he did so, told him that that was also correct. Now, what does this show to us? This shows that in addition to the 4 companions whom the Holy Prophet used to teach the whole of the Quran, there were others who used to learn portion of it from him. Umar's submission that he had been taught to pronounce a certain word in a particular way shows that he too used to learn portions of the Quran from the Holy Prophet himself. Now, the difference that arose between Umar and Abdullah bin Masud had no reference to any variation in the text of the Quran. It related only to a vowel point. Vowel points are a peculiarity of the Arabic language, and in the case of certain verb, a variation in the respect of vowel point is permissible in the Arabic language and does not affect the meaning. For instance, in some cases, a reading both with an A and with an I is permissible either as a general alternative reading or as a tribal or family practice. Just like there's this surah, Wadoa Waleili, the general recitation, Wadoa Waleili, Saja, Mon Wadaka, Robuka, Wamon Kola, Walala, Iratu, Hairu, Minalaka, Milaka Lihula, Allah Sofa, Utika, Fatarida. But if you want to read it with, I think, halves or another recitation, Waduhe, Waleili, Saje, Saje, Mon Wadaka, Robuka, Wamon Kole, you understand? So that's it. So, but the meaning in each case is the same. So the Holy Prophet, recognizing such practice, gave permission under divine dispensation for the adoption of alternative pronunciation, as this had not the effect of altering the meaning or sense of the word. So, as non-Arabic speaking peoples are not familiar with this peculiarity of the Arabic language, they are apt to fall into the misconception which our brother Sunday Folani is falling, that such pronunciation amounted to variation in the text, and that the Holy Prophet was in the habit of teaching certain verses of the Quran in one way to one person and in different way to another. In fact, nothing of this kind ever took place. The variation which have become the subject matter of discussion were not variation either of the text of a verse or even variation of a word. They were all cases of pronunciation of vowel point which did not in any way alter the meaning or significance of a word. The only difference was that some tribes or family, being accustomed to pronounce certain verbs in particular declension in a certain manner, were permitted to do so. Just like my name is Fuhad. If Hausa person wants to call my name, do you know what they call me? Fuhat. They find it difficult. They find it difficult to pronounce the last D in my name. They call it Fuhat. You understand? So, and we see there are many variations in even the Hausa man to call P Q. We have it now. As I continue, the reciters of the Quran. In addition to the four principal teachers of the Quran who had been trained by the Holy Prophet himself, there were certain well-known reciters who had committed the whole Quran to memory. Among these, number one, Zayd bin Thabit, who was also one of the recorders of the revelation. Number two, Abu Zaid Qais bin Asakan, an Ansari, who belonged to the Banu Najjar, which was the tribe of the Prophet's mother. We have Abu Darda, an Ansari. We have Abu Bakr, concerning whom also it is related that from the very beginning he was in the habit of committing the Quran to memory. And number five, Ali. Ali not only knew the Quran by heart, but shortly after the Holy Prophet's death, undertook to arrange the Quran in the order in which it had been revealed. Number six, Nasai relates that Abdullah bin Umar also knew the Quran by heart and used to recite the whole of it in the course of one night. When the Holy Prophet got to know of this, he told him to complete the recitation in the course of 1 month and not to attempt to recite the whole of the Quran in one night, as this might prove burdensome for him. Number seven, we have Abu Ubaid, relate that out of the Muhajirin, the following had committed the Quran to memory: Abu Bakr, Umar, Uthman, Ali, Talha, Saad ibn Masud, Uzaifa, Salim, Abu Hurairah, Abdullah ibn Said, Abdullah ibn Umar, Abdullah ibn Abbas. And out of the women, we have Aisha, we have Afsa, and we have Salma. Most of these had committed the Quran to memory during the Prophet's lifetime, and some of them after his death. Ibn Abu Dawud relates in his book, the Ashariya, that Tamim bin Aus ad-Dari from among the Muhajirin had also committed the Quran to memory. Other historians include in this list is Amr bin Al-Has, Abu Musa Ashari. So there is a lot of people who have committed the Quran to memory. Now I think I have 10 minutes more. So let me quickly round up. So those who had become competent to recite the Quran during the lifetime of the Holy Prophet could be numbered in thousands. So immediately after the death of the Holy Prophet, when Musaylima declared war and marched against Medina at the head of 100,000 warriors, Abu Bakr sent Khalid in command of 13,000 soldiers to oppose him, as this number include many who had only recently accepted Islam, and they don't have the spirit. The spirit of Islam is not in their body a lot. So at this junction, some of the companions of the Holy Prophet who knew the Quran by heart put forward that suggested that all those in the army who had the Quran by heart should be formed into a separate force and should be sent forward to oppose Musalimon's men. It was thought that as these people appreciate the true value of Islam and the need of safeguarding it with their life, their zeal and devotion will prevail against much larger numbers of enemy. So these folks attacked Musaylima army with such vigor that it was forced to retreat, and they destroyed Musaylama's army. But what happened? 500 of these 3,000 men were killed. And the Christian historian, that's William Muir, he said the carnage amongst the readers, that's those who had memorized the Quran by heart, was so great as to give Umar the first idea of collecting the sacred text, lest any part of it should be lost, because out of 3,500 died. So, so then we find that in the time of the Holy Prophet himself, the Quran used to be recorded in writing, was committed to memory, was constantly recited, and thousands of people knew the whole of it by heart, though it had not yet been collected into one volume. So, okay, so I think I have 6 minutes more. So the Quran collected, when it was found that 500 reciters of the Quran had been killed in a battle with Musaylima, Umar suggested to Abu Bakr, that's the then caliph, that if those who had the Quran by heart began to be lost in battles in large numbers, the safeguarding of the purity of the text will become difficult, and that the time had therefore arrived when the whole of Quran should be collected in one volume. Abu Bakr at first refused, but eventually accepted the suggestion and appointed Zaid bin Thabit, being one of those who used to record the Quran, to collect the text of the Quran in one volume, and appointed the prominent companions of the Quran to assist him in the task. Abu Bakr directed for the text of the Quran to be collected from its recorded fragments, and that the accuracy of the text should be certified by two persons who knew the whole of the Quran by heart. This task was soon accomplished, and the written text of the whole Quran was got together in one volume, which was satisfied as accurate by those who knew it by heart. On the basis of this fact, can there be the slightest ground for the suggestion that variation in the text of the Quran had crept in between the death of the Holy Prophet and the compilation of the Quran into one volume under the direction of Abu Bakr and the supervision of Zayd bin Thabit? Can it be reasonably suggested that any difficulty could arise in the compilation into one volume of a book which was being continuously recited every day by large numbers of people? The old text we used to be recited from beginning to end in the course of the month of Ramadan by persons who had committed it to the memory to the Muslim assembled in congregational prayers. Now the standardized copy of the Quran. So I think I have 5 minutes more. So during the time of Uthman, complaint began to be received that different tribes enunciated certain words of the Quran in their own peculiar manner. That as a result of this, non-Muslim who had these words differently enunciated fell into the misconception that there were variations in the text of the Quran. So it has already been explained that these variations were a result of tribal or family practice and had nothing whatsoever to do with any variation in the text, nor did they affect the meaning of any word. Nevertheless, Uthman taught his wife to forbid all variation, even of enunciation of vowel point, he had copies prepared of the text which had been collected in the time of Abu Bakr and dispatched this copy into different parts of the Muslim domain and issued a direction that no variation in the recitation of the Quran from the standard text, even it was even if it was only in the matter of enunciation of vowel points, should be permitted. In the time of the Prophet, the social life of the Arab was based upon tribal division. Each tribe led an existence separate from and independent of the other. So in their speech, they were accustomed to pronounce certain words in accordance with their own practice. So when they accepted Islam, they were wielded into one cultured society, and Arabic at once became the vehicle of that culture. Literacy spread very rapidly among the Arabs, and it became quite easy for every one of them to adopt the correct literary pronunciation of every Arab word. The language of Mecca became the standard for this purpose. That's the Quraysh. And as the Prophet said, if you want to learn the Quran, learn it from the Quraysh. So by the time of Uthman, therefore, no justification had been left for variation in the pronunciation of vowel point in accordance with tribal practice in recitation of the Quran, particularly when such variation were likely to lead to misconception in the minds of non-Arabs. Uthman's very prudent and timely action has been made the basis of the charge by non-Muslim writer that he made changes in the Quran, or that the copies of the Quran um, promulgated by him were in some manner different from the standard text of the text as revealed to the Holy Prophet. These authors these authors imagine that they have discovered a potent weapon of attack against the accuracy of the text of the Quran, but those who are accustomed with the Arabic language and with the history of compilation of the Quran merely smile at the lack of intelligence betrayed by them. There can be no room for doubt that the text of the Quran promulgated by Uthman was exactly the same as that revealed to the Holy Prophet. And there is still less room for doubt that the text of the Quran is continuously, absolutely pure and uncorrupted, since Uthman had dispatched copies of the standard text to different parts of the Muslim dominion. These copies were in turn multiplied so extensively and rapidly that very soon almost every literate Muslim possessed his own copy of the Quran. It is recorded that a few years later, during the struggle between Ali and Muawiyah, the soldiers of the later army on one occasion tied copies of the Quran to the point of their lances and proclaimed that the Quran should decide between the two opposite factions. This shows that by that time it was usual for every Muslim to possess his own copy. So the recitation, copying, and publication of the Quran have always been regarded as act of great spiritual merit in Islam. History tells us that great Muslim divine and even Muslim monarchs used to occupy themselves in copying out the text of the Quran, even in a non-Arab country like India. Centuries after the time of the Holy Prophet, when Muslims had in many respects adopted Hindu custom and practice, the great Mughal emperor used to devote his leisure hours to the copying out of the text of the Quran. So I think I have 2 minutes more. Now, the arrangement of the chapters and verses. It is sometimes asserted that the arrangement of the chapters of the Quran is the work of Uthman. This is not correct. It is well known that the Holy Prophet used to recite the whole of the Quran in Ramadan, and some of his companions also did so. So it is also mentioned in the tradition that the Holy Prophet used to recite the whole of the Quran to the angel Gabriel during the month of Ramadan. A non-Muslim may not be prepared to accept this last statement, but it is beyond doubt that the Holy Prophet used to recite the Quran, and he must have done it in accordance with some arrangement. So after the Holy Prophet's death, Ali did not call on Abu Bakr for some times. Abu Bakr sent for him and asked him whether he was displeased with his caliph. Ali replied that it was not so, but he had been busy in copying out the Quran in the order in which it has been revealed, as he had resolved at the time of the death of the Prophet that he would undertake this duty. This also showed that the Holy Prophet used to recite in a certain order, and that order was different from the order in which it has been revealed. That is why Ali decided that he should copy it
Mm,
out. in the order in which it has been revealed, so that for purpose of history, that arrangement should also be preserved. So there are traditions which relate that whenever a verse or group of verses were revealed to the Holy Prophet, he will send for one of these recorders and direct him to record the verse of the verses, indicating at the
Thank
same
you.
time to which the chapter which they belong. Yes.
Thank you.
So thank you
Yeah.
very much. So I believe with this few points, you'll be convinced, and I believe that everyone will be convinced that this is the Quran has the best preservation. Thank you
Yeah.
very much.
You're welcome. Jẹ́ kí gbogbo ara lè mọ̀ pé eléyìí kì í ṣe debate. In fact, kì í ṣe dialogue. Irú eléyìí a máa múrú ètò báyìí wá dáadáa. Tá a bá rí Mùsùlùmí tó nígboyà tó lè máa bá wa ṣerú ọ̀rọ̀ yìí, inú wa máa dùn gan-an. À ń ṣe eléyìí kó má dàbí pé àwọn Kìrìsìtẹ́nì ló ń ba ẹ̀sìn wa jẹ́, wọ́n ń tẹnu bẹnu àtẹ́lu ìwé wa. Àwa la ṣe ń fún àwọn Mùsùlùmí láàyè káwọn náà wá wí tẹnu wọn, so that àwọn náà lè ṣàlàyé fún wa pé táwa rí lọ́bẹ̀ tá a fi garu ọwọ́ leléyìí. Now, we want to go straight to the question, but èmi ni màá kọ́ béèrè. Yeah, let me quickly ask this question first before I go to the comment section. Mo ti ráwọn béèrè ní comment section. Ìbéèrè àkọ́kọ́ tí mo fẹ́ béèrè, Mr. Fuad, ẹ jọ̀ọ́ orúkọ ìwé tẹ́ ń kà yẹn ẹ fún wa. Ìwé tẹ́ ẹ kà tán fún wa ní ìsìn. Can you give us the name and the author of that book?
Can I give you the? Yes, you can. All what I gave you now, you can go to Wikipedia, you can go to Encyclopedia Britannica, you can go to, yes, it's all over. So it's a notorious fact. It's not something of hidden. It's not a genie something I'm giving you, and all Muslims listening to me. And I don't think anyone will disagree with Emergency Ustaz on what I've given you today.
Thank you. The question is, give us the name of the book we just read. Give us, if you don't have the name, just tell us you don't have the name. We can go to the next question.
I don't have the name. Let's go to the next question.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Let me go to the question. I saw this question. Mori Bereyi. Yeah, Mori question kan ejo. Again, scroll on. Okay, this is a comment.
Ẹ má bínú jàre FSP. Ṣé wọ́n ti sọ fún wa lórúkọ ìwé yẹn àbí kí náà sọ lẹ́ẹ̀kan yẹn?
Wọ́n ní àwọn ò lè fún wa, páwọn fún wa.
Mr. Fuad, ẹ má bínú sir. Àwa náà máa ń ṣe presentation.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, ṣé ẹ ń gbọ́ mi sir?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Proper presentation format ní any debate wọ́n ní pé if you read a book, is for you to reference that book. Ṣé get nísìn. So kò ń ṣe ìgbà tí ń ṣe nǹkan aburú, ṣé get nísìn. Àwa náà lè rí ìwé yẹn káwa náà kà. Ṣé get kó jẹ́ pé ó máa tún ní mọ́ bẹ́ẹ̀ ṣe kà ní sí púpọ̀ sí pé kò ń ṣe gbogbo nǹkan tó wà ń bẹ̀ lẹ́yìn parí. Ṣé get tó yẹ pé àwọn kan Mohammed tó fún wa ní more enlightenment.
Ẹ jẹ́ àpàdé lẹ́yìn ètò. No, if you have issues, you don't understand what I'm saying.
Okay, sir.
If there's any issues you disagree, that is against the main Islamic sources, then we'll go to the main source. You understand what I'm saying?
All right.
Yeah, so if there's any issue that you disagree that what I read from that text there is it's error, then we'll go and check other facts. You understand?
Right. That's a problem.
Okay. So you can bring in your questions.
Okay. Ẹnìkan béèrè ìbéèrè ní ẹ jẹ́ kí n share nǹkan tán sọ nítorí àwọn máa ń share òkodoro lápò bí òun ṣe bí takàn tí máa ń mú ọ̀rọ̀ lórí. Náà ẹ jẹ́ kí n share nǹkan tí Sahih Bukhari ẹni ẹ share fún wa 7191 òun ló wà lójú screen wa yìí. Ẹni Abubakar sent me owing to the large number of casualties in the Battle of Yamama. So àyàdí tí question náà yẹn tí wọ́n show rẹ̀ òun ló wà jẹ́ kí n gbé comment.
Yes, let me answer the question.
Let me ask the question first.
Don't worry.
Let me ask the question. Torí àwọn ará ilé, let me ask it. So yẹn, so tí n bá béèrè lẹ́wà dáhùn mi tí béèrè. The question said, Sahih Bukhari 7191 òun náà ló wà lójú screen yẹn said in one battle that there has been a lot of number of people that memorize some verses of the Quran had died. How could you say this Quran is complete? Oh, should you be shown the hadith on screen for proof for every minute? I want it because I've shown it on the screen.
I don't even need it. Yes. Now, Mr. Isaac Ogunshola, yes, you said from the text, if you will be sincere with yourself, and they said a number of people that memorized some verses of the Quran, many of them died during the Battle of Yarmouk, as I said. And for my first presentation, I think I gave you the answer because that Battle of Yarmouk, the Islamic government, they wanted people that are very I can say that are very what can I say, that are very serious in Islam should go and fight the war, so that they will fight it with a vigorous intensity. So they dedicated 3,000 of these people that have memorized the Quran to go and fight the war. They were facing a more larger forces. The forces against them was even more. I think it was like 2 times, 3 times more than them. So they had 3,000 men to go, and they were able to fight this war. And do you know what happened? 500 of them died. So that was why the Caliph now said, wow, 500 out of 3,000. What if they had lost this battle? So that was why I said it must be written. So if 500 out of 3,000 died, I do not think that should affect the preservation of the Quran. And you know, the Quran has been recited, memorized. It was memorized 5 times a daily. And during Ramadan, it's all the whole will be recited. And as I gave you earlier, there was a man, I mentioned it while I was making my presentation. He normally read the Holy Quran in the whole day, and the Prophet said he should not do it, that he will stress himself, that he should be reading it in a month. So so a large number, yes, 500 is a large number. And so that answers your question, Mr. Isaac Ogunshola. You can bring the next question in.
Okay. Hold on. Yeah. Let me give you another question. Hold on. Let me scroll through the question. Mo lérò pé àwọn ará ilé náà ti ń kẹ́kọ̀ọ́ dáadáa. Okay. Ṣé question yẹn jẹ́ wo? He said that the hadith that the verse of suckling 10 times was revealed and later changed to 5. A verse of stoning 2 was revealed. But do you have it in the Quran today?
Okay, Mr. Vicky Lion, you were asking about the verse of the 10 sucklings and the verse of the stoning. Now, Mr. Vicky Lion, I would like you to have an open mind. Yes. Now, we are going to look at the text of this hadith. You know, this hadith compilation was done, I think, at least 300 years after the death of the Prophet, and from what, if we look at that verse, we need to, when you are reading the text of the hadith, you need to use your reasoning, your intellect from that verse.
Hello?
I'm answering. You want to cut in again? Hello?
Sorry, I don't know. I left here, I come back again. FSP.
Yes, sir.
Ṣé wọ́n ti dáhùn ìbéèrè alákọ̀ọ́kọ́ tẹ́niyẹn béèrè?
Wọ́n láwọn ti dáhùn.
Ẹ má bínú, kẹ́ tó lọ sí ánsà ìbéèrè kejì sà. Ní question tó ń béèrè yẹn, nígbà tẹ́ ń ka ìwé yẹn lẹ́ẹ̀kan tẹ́ ń ṣe presentation yín, àlàyé tẹ́ ẹ ṣe ni pé àwọn tó lọ sí ojú ogun yẹn, ẹni kì í ṣe àwọn tí ó jẹ́ àwọn gbòógì tán mọ Kùránì yẹn bí ojú àmì, bí àwọn tó ẹ mọ̀ pé àwọn áfíìsì wà lọ́tọ̀, àwọn tó jẹ́ àwọn tó mọ Kùránì tẹ́ pé àwọn yẹn. So nísìnyí tẹ́ pé táwọn tí nǹkan bá ṣe wọ́n báyìí, ó ṣeé ṣe kí wọ́n má rẹ̀ ní Kùránì ṣẹ́gẹ́sì nísìnyí. Now, àmọ́ nǹkan tẹ́yìn sọ nínú nǹkan tẹ́ ń kà lọ lẹ́ẹ̀kan yẹn ni pé àwọn èèyàn yẹn gangan kọ́ làwọn tán dà sójú ogun. ẹ ní àwọn èèyàn tó kàn ní passion fún Islam tó yẹ pé wọn ò tí ì really mọ Quran bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn pẹtẹ bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn bí àwọn yẹn páwọn náà dà sójú ogun páwọn ni ogun yẹn pa ṣe gẹ́sì nísìn nǹkan tẹ́ẹ̀dẹ̀ sọ yẹn nǹkan tá a ṣe ń béèrè reference ìwé yẹn nìyẹn kò sí
No, Egbo, you didn't hear
Okay.
me. You didn't hear the presentation. Maybe go and watch it again. That was what I said. I said it was the Hafiz, 3,000 Hafiz that they sent to go and fight that war. They want people,
Or-
the die-hard Muslims, the fundamentalist Muslims, to go, who have memorized the Quran, who believe that with the Quran in their heart, they have to victory. And 3,000 of them went for the, 3,000 of them went for the Battle of Yamu.
All
And
right,
out of
mo
the
ti get
3,000
yín.
yes,
Mo
they
ti
won
get
the
point.
war and 500 died. Because 500
Okay.
died, the Caliph now said, Abba, 500 you took for July, I want 3,000. I got a document here. That was what
Ẹhẹ́n.
happened.
Ẹ-
Yes.
Yeah, mo ti get point yín báyìí nísìn. Okay, ẹ ká gbà èmi agree pé mo misquote yín ṣe get nísìn. So inú mi dùn
Okay,
bẹ́ẹ̀ ti
sir.
ṣe sọ jáde inú mi dùn bẹ́ẹ̀ ti ṣe sọ jáde báyìí nísìn. FSP ẹ bá gbé comment yìí kúrò ẹ wá padà
Yes,
lọ
sir.
sí àdìtì
Yes.
tí brother yẹn cite lẹ́ẹ̀kan. Ẹ bá gbé comment yẹn kúrò
Okay.
ẹ wá padà sí àdìtì yẹn tí brother yẹn cite. Ẹ bá padà sí àdìtì
Okay.
yẹn. Yeah. So mo wá fẹ́ kán padà wá sáré now ẹ wá àdìtì yẹn sìn. Àdìtì yẹn sọ pé Abubakar sent for me, owing the large number of casualty. She gets in the battle of Yamama. While Umar was sitting with him, Abubakar said to me, Umar has come to me and said, a great number of Qur'anis, that's Awantomo Quran, of the Holy Quran, that is Awantomo, were killed on the day of the battle of Yamama. A great number. I am afraid that the casualty among the Qur'anis, Awantomo Quran, of the Quran may increase. Ó mì pé àwọn tó mọ Quran lọ tó mọ dáadáa yẹn wọ́n lè máa kú lọ wọ́n pọ̀ gan tó lè máa kú lọ bẹ́ẹ̀. On the other battle ogun ìmítọ̀ tó fẹ́ jà whereby a large part ṣe ń gbọ́ nǹkan tó sọ whereby a large part ohun dànù ẹ bá mi lọ sókè díẹ̀ okay bẹ́ẹ̀ náà nìyẹn a large part of the Quran may be lost. Now tá bá gbóyìnbó dáadáa tá dẹ̀ gbọ́ nǹkan tí kìíní yìí sọ kò tẹ̀ ń sọ̀rọ̀ gbóyìnbó lélẹ̀ whereby a large tá bá sọ pé kí large part má lost a large part may is a conditional statement ẹ get ní sin ó show pé there are some things tó ti sọnù wọn ò kàn fẹ́ kí púpọ̀ nínú àwọn nǹkan yẹn kó sọnù ni whereby a large part of the Quran may be lost. Therefore I consider it advisable that you Abubakar ṣe get ní sin should have the Quran collected. So wọ́n ṣe sọ pé èyí tó kù yẹn o àtàwọn tó kù lẹ́yìn o ó yẹ tètè kó wọn jọ o kó má di pé a máa sọ púpọ̀ nú ẹnu ó mì pé nǹkan kan ti sọnù ń bẹ̀ tẹ́lẹ̀tẹ́lẹ̀ so nǹkan tí mo fẹ́ kẹ́ bá wa ṣàlàyé based on question tí brother Isaac Ogunṣọlá tán béèrè yẹn òun nìyẹn mo lérò pé nǹkan tó fẹ́ sọ gan mo ti pa yín ṣàlàyé síta yẹn.
Okay, sir. Can I cross-examine you, sir?
Ẹ̀yin lẹ fẹ́ dáhùn ìbéèrè yìí.
Yes, I want to. Yes. This is not a debate session.
Okay,
this is
sir.
for
All right,
learning.
sir. All right.
I want to cross-examine you.
No problem. All right, sir.
Okay. Do you agree with me that many of the companions memorized the whole Quran? Yes or no?
I don't know if many, but I know some of them memorize the Quran according to your traditions.
Yes, according to our tradition, we agreed.
Yes.
Do you also agree with me that the whole of the Quran was recited from A to Z during Ramadan period? Do you agree with me?
No, I didn't agree with that because I don't really have
From
the
the
evidence
sources,
for that.
yes, from this, yes, it's a notorious fact. It's a notorious fact. The last
Mo wà pẹ̀lú
all
yín,
Ramadan,
èmi lè fẹ́ cross check, yeah.
It's a notorious fact, and I would like you to do. I would
Màá
like you to do
confirm,
this.
màá check,
Yes,
màá
whether
check.
the Ahmadis, whether the Sunni, any of the Islamic groups,
Asharis,
they make sure
màá
they
confirm.
yes,
Just
they
continue your
make
cross
sure,
check, sir.
yes, they make
Yes.
sure they finish the whole Quran.
Take
and
that.
that's one
Take cross check me,
Yes,
Tommy.
I'm going. I'm just trying to. I'm just trying
Okay.
to make a point. Okay.
Okay.
Now, from the tradition I read, because I will give you this thing, you go and check. It was 3,000 that went for that. 3,000 that went for that war, and out of 3,000, 500 died.
Okay.
And we're told that all this had memorized the Quran. So this man talking that a part that it will be lost, because if people start dying like that, if people start dying like that, it's possible. It is possible that the Quran may be lost. So that's what.
Sir, hello sir. Ẹ wo nǹkan tó wà níbí. Kò ń ṣe pé kò sọ pé Quran máa lost. Ó ní a large part. Ẹ get nísìn. Ó ní if the battle continue in the other battlefield, that the large part, whereby a large part of the Quran may be lost. I get this is a very straightforward something. A large part, which means something has lost. What they are trying to avoid is the large part. In fact, the same tradition.
Yes, it's a conditional. Wait, sir.
Ẹ má bínú sir, mo ń bọ̀. Nínú àdìs tẹ̀ ń ka ìgàn, ó padà ṣàlàyé fún wa lọ́wọ́ ìsàlẹ̀ pé nígbà tí yẹn fẹ́ lọ máa wá àwọn kinní yẹn tó bá jẹ́ pé òun mọ gbogbo ẹ̀ lórí yẹn. FSPC kúrò. Jésù ọkọ̀ ìjọ o. FSP dẹ̀ ló login as admin o. Ẹ dúró náà ṣẹlẹ̀ ẹ lè fún mi ní bí i 2 minutes ẹ kí n sáré pẹ́ fẹ́ sí.
Okay.
Ṣé pẹ́ sá? Alright, ṣàjẹ́ kí n sáré màá mute ara mi máa pè wọ́n lórí fóònù. Alright, so wọ́n switch network ni, so wọ́n máa join nísìnyí bíi 2 minutes or 3 minutes ṣá. So based on nǹkan tí mò ń béèrè lọ Mr. Fuad, so n pé ẹ mọ̀ kíní yẹn jẹ́ kó show wa pé the large part of it ni wọ́n ń gbìyànjú àti sọ pé ó máa sọnù, and then nínú àdìs tán kà fún wa yẹn ibẹ̀ yẹn padà ṣàlàyé fún wa gan pé nígbà tán ní kọ́ kó jọ ìyẹn ògbọ́n ò lè jókòó pẹ̀lú àwọn tó kù ń bẹ̀ yẹn pé kọ́kàn ní pé torí àwọn ti mọ̀ ọ́ lórí kọ́kọ́ jókòó kọ́ bẹ̀. Wọ́n bẹ̀rẹ̀ ìgbà tó dé level kan gan wọn ò mọ gbogbo ẹ̀ lórí, wọ́n bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ní wá oríṣiríṣi káàkiri ẹ̀mọ̀ nǹkan tó jẹ́ pé ogun ọlọ́run mọ̀ lórí bẹ̀ bọ́yé Abubakar ṣe pàṣẹ yẹn ó yẹ kọ́kàn jókòó bẹ̀ àwọn tó ríra wọn yẹn kọ́ dẹ̀ bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ní kọ́ ṣẹ́gẹ́sì nísìn but assurance gan ò sí pé bóyá ilé mi mọ̀ complete náà in fact kíní yẹn padà lẹ́rìí débi tó jẹ́ pé láàárín àwọn 4 kíní tẹ dárúkọ lẹ́ẹ̀kan yẹn pé wọ́n lè lẹ́rìn lára.
Ṣé ń gbọ́ mi báyìí? Ìgbọ́ mi
bẹ́ẹ̀ à ń gbọ́ yín kódà Mr. Fuad ṣe ń gbọ́ mi láàárín àwọn mẹ́rin tẹ dárúkọ yẹn àwọn mẹ́ta kan wà ń bẹ̀ Abdullahi ibn Masud, Ubay ibn Kabs ṣẹ́gẹ́sì nísìn pẹ̀lú Uthmanic Codex tẹ bá lọ Uthmanic Codex ló ní 114, Abdulmalik ibn Masud ló ní 111 sura, Ubay ibn Kabs ìyẹn ní 116 bọ́ ibẹ̀ yẹn kọ́ ni mò ń lọ sìn ibi tí mò ń lọ gan ni pé àdìs tán kà jáde yẹn jẹ́ kó yé wa pé wọ́n fẹ́ kí púpọ̀ nínú àwọn Quran chapters and verses yẹn kó sọnù ìdí tó ṣe ní kọ́ kó jọ nìyẹn. So èdè yẹn tó sọ yẹn gan ni a fẹ́ kẹ́ bá wa tú dáadáa kẹ́ bá wa ṣàlàyé.
Now context ni ẹnìyẹn mean that if context ni ẹnìyẹn mean ó kò dàbí kíyàn rí ọmọ yẹn pé ọmọ wàá fail o ọmọ tó bá kàwé wàá fail. So what it mean is that if many tó bá jẹ́ pé kí gbogbo wọn bá lọ kú tọ́njọ́ yẹn kọ́ then a large part will be lost, then àwọn tó kù tí wọ́n lẹ́ni Quran dáadáa so part ma lost. So that was the context, but I know you won't accept this.
No kò ṣe kémi lè accept nǹkan tẹ̀ nǹkan tí mi ṣe lè agree pẹ̀lú yín a máa proceed torí ká má bàa pẹ́ lórí ẹ má bínú FSP ẹ má bínú ká lè proceed. Reason tí mi ṣe ní accept fún lórí eléyìí òun ni pé the core contest ẹ̀ ń wò yìí in fact tó bá ka contest yìí lọ sísàlẹ̀ ó destroy a lot of things kẹ̀tìkà sílẹ̀ tẹ́lẹ̀tẹ́lẹ̀ the same contest ẹ̀ ń sọ gangan ṣẹ́gẹ́sì nísìn. So èmi believe pé téèyàn bá tí fèlì tẹ́lẹ̀ ẹgẹ́sì nísìn wọn ò ní sọ fún pé ṣé o tún ti fẹ́ fèlì púpọ̀ nínú àwọn kinní yìí àbí àwọn nǹkan báyẹn ìyẹn yàtọ̀ sí pé kó sọ pé èèyàn á fail ẹgẹ́sì nísìn ìyẹn yàtọ̀ síra wọn. èyí báyìí ò sọ wípé whereby Quran may be lost. Ó jẹ́ pé yóò wá pé whereby a large part of the Quran may be lost, showing that something was already lost. and we can affirm that from àwọn sàábé ànábì ṣe get bí àwọn tí ẹ pé chapters and kíní wọn kò ṣe kíní méjì ọjọ́ merge tẹ́ pé disagreement gan wà ní ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ní orí wọn so Ọlọ́run á ràn wá lọ́wọ́ ṣá so but ìjọsìn ìwé tèmi ti máa dánu dúró nìyẹn torí àsìkò wa.
TMJ káàbọ̀ sórí ètò ẹ jẹ́ kí n bí nítorí ẹ ṣáàjẹ́ ká Fuad ẹ jẹ́ kán máa dáhùn yẹn àwa gbogbo tó ń sọ yẹn nǹkan tẹ́ ṣáà ń dá ẹ ṣáà rí pé ẹ̀rí rẹ̀ wà nù ìwé yín ẹ má mú mùlómù fáwọn aráalé sì ń gbọ́ wa wọ́n sì ń kẹ́kọ̀ọ́ lọ́dọ̀ yín so inú wa máa dùn kẹ́ fún wọn ní gbogbo ìdáhùn tó bá fẹ́ pátápátá ẹ rí pé kì í ṣe pàṣẹ báyìí kẹ́ dáhùn ìbéèrè àwọn èèyàn ní àdẹ̀fẹ́kẹ́ dá wa lẹ́kọ̀ọ́ ti ka ìwé yẹn fún wa bẹ́ẹ̀ tẹ̀ fún wa lórúkọ òwe tẹ̀ ká fún wa ìbéèrè míì.
èmi náà ní ìbéèrè létà ṣàbọ̀ táwọn èèyàn bá ti
èmi náà ní ìbéèrè ẹ máa jẹ́ ká dáhùn ìbéèrè àwọn aráalé náà àwa náà wá béèrè ìbéèrè wa ká tó máa lọ. Which Arabic Quran was preserved? ìbéèrè kan ní Bravilenus SSB wọ́n béèrè lọ́wọ́ Brafa. Which of Arabic Quran was preserved? Mr. Fuad.
Which of the Arabic Quran was preserved? Yes, that question is ambiguous. That question is ambiguous.
Ṣé ká bá wa tún béèrè àbí? Ẹ jẹ́ ká bí Mr. Villainous, ẹ bá wa tún question yẹn kó má wà ambiguous. Ẹ bá wa you help us break the question down so that it won't be ambiguous. He said it's ambiguous. So màmá kà ní sàlẹ̀ jẹ́ kí n béèrè next question torí àkókò wa àfẹ́.
Second question tí mò ń dáhùn jẹ́ kí n dáhùn second question tí màá yẹn béèrè.
Okay.
Hello? Yes, the man was asking that where is the stoning verses?
Yes.
Ní pé Aisha nígbà tí Ànábì kú ewúrẹ́ wá jẹ ìwé Quran tó wà ní abẹ́ bẹ́ẹ̀dì ẹ̀ so nítorí ẹ̀ kò dẹ̀ sí tó bá yá àwọn ọmọ sọ pé kò sí stoning verses tẹ́ bá wo if we look at that story that incident you will know that there are many things that are not right in that story. Number one, it is impossible for Aisha to say because a goat ate a fragment of our own Quran that means all other Qurans will automatically disappear from their own compilation. So that's nonsense. Number two, we know that the Quran was memorized. The Holy Quran used to tell them that if you memorize the Quran, you are going to paradise. You have no sin. So it will be impossible for because a goat ate a part of the Quran, and that means the goat will also eat the one in their brain. So we need to zoom in. We need to zoom in and use our intellect to now analyze this. So there's a mistake somewhere. So where is the mistake? The mistake now is that from what we see from that text, the stoning for adultery is not in the Quran, definitely. But when we go to the Bible, stoning to death is in the Bible. So this text, the person translating, and do not forget that this is a 5th century report, and these are the shins may go as long as 20 people. 20 people. Okay, I had this from A told B to C. Now, what I want the questionnaire. What's his name, Seth? Let me
go ahead with your answer, please. Go ahead.
Yes, I just want to call his name.
Let me. You can look at this. Let me reframe the question. Sorry,
I know what he's saying.
Let me reframe the question. Look at the edit on the screen. Sorry, àwọn aráalé wa fẹ́ kí wọ́n kẹ́kọ̀ọ́ àdẹ̀fẹ́ kí wọ́n mú irọ́ lọlé. Listen, please. Listen. Ẹ wojú screen, the verse of stoning and of principle and dárúkọ Bible kọ́ là ń sọ̀rọ̀ báyìí. The verse of stoning and the breastfeeding another 10 times was revealed. Níbo ni àyà yẹn wà nù Quran lénìí? Ṣé tòótọ́ ni wọ́n reveal 10 suckling? Number one question ni ìbéèrè kan bẹ̀rẹ̀ ni pé ẹ̀dùn wọ́n wá kọ sálẹ̀ pé wọ́n ti abrogate ẹ̀ sí 5. Níbo ló wà nù Quran? Pé suckling yẹn ó ti di 5 àti pé ṣé tòótọ́ ni hold on. Ṣé lóòótọ́ ni wọ́n reveal stoning àti breastfeeding? Tó bá yẹ kí wọ́n reveal ẹ̀, kí ló dé tí ò sínú Quran ọwọ́ yín tó bá yẹ tó not preserve Quran? That's the question you are asked.
Yes, if you had listened to me. Now, let me just tell you, there was in that hadith, there was a mistake. Aisha was referring to the Bible extract and not Quran. Because
ẹ jẹ́
Quran
fún wa
has
lẹ́rìí ẹ̀ sà, ẹ fún wa
oh,
lẹ́rìí mi tó lọ sọ pé Aisha ń dárúkọ Bible. Ẹ kàn
let
má
me
sọ
finish
ẹ kàn
now.
má
Let
tẹ̀lé
me
mi sọ.
finish. Let me finish now. You
Mr.
brought
Fuad,
me as a
hold on.
that's the problem.
Hold on. Ẹ bá tí ẹ rí nǹkan tá à ń ṣe lórí ètò yà ṣàwẹ́wà
Ẹ̀dẹ̀ má
o.
lọ sọ pé ẹ fẹ́ kóòtì Bible torí wọn lọ́lọ́run kan náà ìwé wa ọ̀dẹ̀ papọ̀.
Look at
Ẹ tọ́ láti ascend sí ìwé kẹ́m evidence yẹn
ẹ
jáde
wo
ní ìwé
nǹkan tó wà
yìí.
lójú screen.
Tọ́dún
And gbogbo tó bá dẹ̀ fẹ́ sọ ẹ fún wa lẹ́rìí tẹ́lẹ̀ kàn máa sọ fún wa
ẹ fún wa ní
láǹsà
Islamic
láti
sources. Islamic
verse
source tó
of
sọ wípé
stoning.
kò ń ṣe Quran Bible ni ẹ fún wa.
Yeah,
Islamic source làwa ṣó yìí.
The verse of stoning and of breastfeeding an adult 10 times was revealed. Ṣé Bible ni ìwé yìí sọ ni àbí Quran? Ẹ bá sọ pé Bible ni ẹ fún wa lẹ́rìí ibi tó ti pè ní Bible ọ̀kẹ́ ẹ fún wa ní ẹ má kàn quote nǹkan fún wa lórí. Give us evidence for whatever thing you want to say, please.
Now, what I'm telling you, I know you find it difficult to accept, but the people at home, they are getting the context.
Hello sir, ẹ má bínú sir. Hello Mr. Fuad, ẹ jọ̀ọ́ ẹ má bínú pé mo cut yín again.
Yes sir.
Sherry, assumption is a killing tablet in philosophy. She gets anything. Yeah. So, and the author of philosophy said even philosophy is dead when it comes to some extent. The reason why you sọ fún yín ni pé psychology tẹ́ ń lò yẹn kò ń ṣe àwọn ọmọ kéékèèké tán fún lọ́mú níbi báyìí ni àwọn tẹ́ ń bá sọ̀rọ̀. Reason ni pé sharing nǹkan tó wà níbi báyìí yìí sìn. Ẹ lè má kàn máa zoom pé ó lè hard láti ní kẹ́ gbà. Kíní yẹn look like èèyàn kan tó ní secret knowledge níbì kan. Tẹ́ wá rò pé secret knowledge yẹn ni true. Meanwhile, there is no validity láti sọ pé nǹkan tẹ́ ń sọ yẹn ó wà true or ó wà false. But nǹkan tá à ń pè bí báyìí ni fáàtì òkodoro. Tẹ́ bá sọ pé ojú mi ọ̀tún fọ́, màá ṣe view, màá show ojú mi bí. Àwọn èèyàn ará ilé á confirm pé lóòótọ́ lójú yìí má ṣe kíni ló fọ́ o. Nǹkan tẹ́ ń sọ yìí mi ì fẹ́ kẹ́ lo gbogbo psychology ọmọdé tẹ́ ń lò yẹn mọ́. Ẹ fún wa lẹ́rìí yẹn jáde ibi báyìí náà kọ sínú Islamic tradition o àdè máa bá bẹ́ẹ̀. Ṣé gẹ́tì nísìnyí nǹkan tá à ń fẹ́ nìyẹn.
Now, hello.
Go ahead.
Yes. So now, I believe you guys on this program, you are not foolish. You are not foolish. And when you look at the text, there are many things that are not right in that text. Number one, there's because the text is problematic itself. Because for Aisha to tell us that the extract she has in her bed, that because a goat ate a part, which means Aisha is indirectly telling us that a goat has ate those ones in the Hafiz, more than 3,000 Hafiz, that the goat automatically ate it. That's pure nonsense, my brother.
We agree.
So,
we agree.
cutting.
I said we agree.
I'm talking. Yes, I'm answering Mr. What's his name?
The first question has not been answered.
Yes, I know.
Hold on, Mr. Fuad. The second part went down. The first verse, ṣé wọ́n reveal is stoning and adult breastfeeding or not?
Yes, I'm answering the question, and you didn't allow me. You didn't allow me to answer.
Please, go ahead. We don't want to argue with you. Go ahead.
Yes. What's the man's name?
It's not about his name. It's about the question.
I know. I'm answering the question.
Gone up. It's not about his name. It's about the question. Ṣé tòótọ́ ni wọ́n reveal the 10 suckling àti adult breastfeeding àti stoning nínú Quran? Tó bá dé bẹ̀m̀bọ̀ ló wà lẹ́ni. It's a question for you.
Okay. Now, sorry, I just want to know the name of the man. I just want to know the man's name. I just want to call his name. Okay. Now, what I'm saying, please just give me 5 minutes to explain to this man so that he would get this. Hello?
You are explaining to everybody, not the man. We want to learn from you.
Yes,
that is why you are here.
Yes.
Now, please.
Now, from the verse, from the Hadith statement, we were told that Aisha said that she had a copy of an extract of the Quran in her bed. That extract, a goat ate part of it. That because a goat ate part of it, it means that many people will now say the stoning is not in the Quran. So this hadith is it's pure nonsense, problematic, if and only if we agree that it is the Quran. Because number one, the Quran is a book that is a book that has been memorized during the time of Ramadan, before the Holy Prophet died. All the last 10 days of Ramadan, it will be recited. Even people use it to make money. Abu Huraira, he would recite the Quran. People will give him money. So the Quran was like, they eat the Quran, they sleep the Quran, they eat. It's a living tradition. So for Aisha to make this statement, we know it is problematic. So now we need to zoom in. You understand? We must not follow the text hook, line, and sinker. Because when I also saw that verse, that stoning verse, I went to the Quran, I checked. I did. Oh, let me finish now. I'm responding to that man, Mr. Questioner. I'm answering him. Please hold on.
I'm supporting that you have searched and searched and searched, but it's not there.
Kosi demand that at least let me answer. I'm the teacher here. Just like you and Adepoju were debating. He said you are the teacher here. So I'm talking now. Please just give me some few minutes to learn, to explain to him. So I checked the whole verse of the Quran. I didn't see it. Then I said, I now thought of something. Wait a minute. The Christian and the Jews were living, they were deeming that they were living under the Islamic community, under the Islam, and they were told to pay jizya, and they were not, Sharia law was not even administered to them. They were not, Sharia law was not applied to them. So I now thought of it that okay, Aisha was a big Islamic leader. So I now see it as, and in ancient times, even me sometimes, when people see me with carrying a book, they will say, this guy, they carry Bible. I don't know what they do with Bible. Whereas I was carrying Quran. Most people that sees me in where I stay, if I'm going home, they will say, kill and fee Bible share. But they didn't know that I was carrying the Quran. Now we are talking of 5th century, where illiteracy was, when this was just starting. So the confusion that was made was that the only thing that will make sense, that if that book, that goat that was eaten was an extract of the Bible, where in Leviticus, when it was commanded that people that people that commit adultery should be stoned, because if that goat has tear it, if they want to judge maybe some of the Jewish people committed fornication and they want to kill them, and they go to Aisha in her own book, if it's not there, and they will say, no, it's not there, then you cannot kill us because nobody wants to die. So that's the only way that particular verse will make sense. So I sympathize with the narrator. So it was the Bible extract under Aisha's bed that was mistaken for the Quran. So, and this is an ancient, and the transmitter, before it got
Safa,
to,
we don't have all day, so that other people have other programs.
Yes, I've answered this. Next question. Next question.
Mr. Fuad, I'm asking the next question. Show us from the Bible the 10 suckling.
Yes, yes, it might have been lost in the Bible. We know there are many books of the Bible which we have the Gospel of St. Thomas, Gospel of Mary Magdalene. We have the Gospel of Judas Iscariot, which was just discovered. So we have a lot of Bible. Even most of these Bible verse. When I was reading the history of the Bible, I just got a book. They said the author of Matthew unknown, book of Isaiah author unknown, book of this unknown. So we have a lot of apocryphal. You should know about apocryphal books. So it's possible that some of these apocryphal book, these breast suckling, adult breast suckling may be there. So the only way that hadith will make sense, and there are many errors in the hadith. There was an hadith that says the prophet went to Miraj, that he went to heaven on a horse. He went before he became a prophet. Isn't that it? And we know it's clearly wrong. It was after he became a prophet that was when he went to collect the Quran. It was after he went. So we know there are many errors. So if this is an ancient text, so they could have mistaken the Bible for the Quran, because the Bible is not something of memory. Quran means recitation. So that's the answer. Next question, please.
Okay.
Next question, please.
Okay, in the Hadith, the verses were abrogated in recitation but not ruling. Is it Bible or Quran?
Now,
we are still on the Hadith.
Yes.
Before we move.
We are still on the. Yes. Now,
you see the highlighted part of the Hadith.
Yes, I can see.
Hold on. These verses were abrogated in recitation but not ruling. Other Hadith established the number of fostrate to be 5. Please, how do you justify this to be Bible?
Okay. Now, please, I would like you to help me with a Quranic verse that they said that if we abrogate something, we bring something better. Can you give me that Quranic verse, please?
106.
Please hold on. I want to make a reference here. Quran, sorry. Quran what, sir?
2:106.
Okay, Quran 2:106.
You can share your screen. So far you're on system. You can share your screen.
Yes, I don't really know how to do all such. I'm sorry. Okay, now, Quran, yes, Ayah 106. Now, whatever sign we abrogate, I'm reading the Quranic verse now, or cause to be forgotten, we bring one better than that, or the like thereof. Does thou not know that Allah has the power to do all things? Now, this verse is talking about the Bible. So what does it say? It's talking about the Bible, not a Quranic verse, another Quranic verse substituting another Quranic verse, because some commentators have attempted to say that this text means that some verse of the Quran have been abrogated by others. This is pure nonsense. So it's talking about the Bible, that the biblical verses, and many of them have been abrogated, and the Quran has come here to stay. So that's what it's trying to say. And the people of the book, their jealousy for the new revelation and all these things, it has been abrogated. So that's what it's saying. So this verse is not talking about Quran is pure nonsense. So it's talking about the Bible. And from the Quran, I know you will recall the verse that when they said from the Quran, you should know that even when Jesus Christ came, he also came to renew he condemned some things which the Israelites did. And it's there in the Quran that Jesus Christ came to make halal what was haram to the children of Israel. Yes. So it's clearly talking about the Bible. That is it.
Audience at home, mo lérò pé ń gbọ́ Mr. Fuad, ẹ sì ń fi ọkàn bá wọn lọ pé Quran ni o, òun ló tún sọ̀rọ̀ pa Bíbélì o. Bíbélì ni wọ́n ti ní kán máa mu ọmú àgbàlagbà o. Òun náà ní kán máa sọ̀yàn lókùúta pa, ṣùgbọ́n
Leviticus is in Leviticus.
Hold on. Látẹnu Mr. Fuad. Gbogbo ẹ̀yin Mùsùlùmí, mo lérò pé ń gbọ́ Mr. Fuad. Wọ́n sọ fún wa pé nígbà tí Allah sọ nínú Surah 106 pé ẹni tá a bá mú ta fún wọn ní similar verses, Bible ni wọ́n sọ ń pa ìkíṣe Qurani. No problem. Let me give you another question. Which Arabic Quran was preserved? You have not answered this question.
Yes, the question is an ambiguous question.
Okay. Now, next question, please. What can Fuad say about that part of text of the Quran that was eaten by goats?
Yes, Bible tó wà lábẹ́ bẹ́ẹ̀dì Aisha tí wọ́n fi ń dájọ́ àwọn oníṣìnà.
Wọ́n recite láyélágbà Muhammad. Bible ni wọ́n recite Muhammad. Manuscript Bible wà lábẹ́ bẹ́ẹ̀dì Aisha.
Now, yes, but not complete manuscript. Extract.
We can come back and we will discuss about all these things you are saying. Fuad gave us first claim that the revelation of Muhammad were put into writing during the lifetime of Muhammad. Somebody, that's a comment anyway. Yeah, another question. Firebrand. If indeed the Quran was entirely committed to memory or written down by Muhammad in Muhammad's day, then one, why did Abu Bakr instruct Uthman to compile the Quran due to the death of Muslim at war?
Okay, can I answer that?
Go ahead.
Yes. Since it was committed to memory, and those that were written were extracts, it was not full. So, and because many of them died, many of those who committed it to memory died, so it has to be standardized to put in a book that everybody will have a copy, which after it was done, Uthman sent it to 7 provinces of Islamic Republic. He gave them 7, and it was standardized. And do you know what, my brother, Mr. Firebrand? I think you are the one that asked the question. Do you know what? Most of the nobody has been criticizing the Quran from the time of Uthman when he standardized it. From those who, to memorize Ewa, and they made a group, a committee to be able to standardize the version. Since Uthman, no one has criticized the text. So I think that answers your question, sir.
Yes, because of our time. Question 2, so where is the verse of stoning to death and breastfeeding of adults 5 or 10 times today? This is a question.
Yes, if you go to the Bible, you can get the stoning verse, but the breastfeeding, it's most likely to be in any of the apocryphal books of the Bible. There are a lot of them. We have the Lord's Book of the Garden of Eden. We have the Gospel of Judas Iscariot, which was discovered in around 2004. Gospel of Judas Iscariot. So we have a lot of things like that. So the stoning verse is in the Bible. Please hold on. Let me get the verse for you. The stoning verse.
Please let's move on.
Let me give him the stoning verse.
No. Go ahead. Let's go. You have answered the question, Abi. You said it's in the Bible. It's not in the Quran.
Yes. So
as you are searching for it.
Sorry, Leviticus chapter 20, verse 10. You should go there. If a man commits adultery with another man's wife, even with the wife of his neighbor, both adulterer and adulteress must be stoned to death. So that is it.
Allah revealed that verse to the children of Israel.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Another question. Do you believe the revelation was meant for those Arabs? Do you believe other people like Africans might have gotten their messenger before Quran?
Yes, I believe that. Yes, I believe, for my own belief, I believe that there is no community that Allah did not send messengers. The Hindu, all this, like the Indians, they have Hindus, Buddhism, and others. I believe that all these people came to acknowledge the concept of one God, but with time, the wonders of God became polluted. That was what I feel.
Okay.
It became polluted. Yes, that's it. That's the answer. Then somebody is asking another question.
Why did the government of Egypt sink variants of the Quran into the Red Sea only to showcase the Hafs version in 1924?
Yes. Why did the government sink the Hafs version of the Quran only to showcase the Hafs version in 1924? Yes, since they want, maybe the government wants. The government wants a particular reading. It doesn't want in my earlier presentation, I told you that due to the tribe, the Arab tribe, there are some words that the other tribes find difficult to pronounce. So because of that, there were variants. But the Holy Prophet allowed it because Prophet wants the other ones who cannot pronounce it well to be with the ones they pronounce, so that at least they can memorize it. So he allowed it. But when Uthman came, Uthman said he wants just one standard, And the Prophet has said, go to the Quraysh, go to the Quraysh. So that was what they did. And I believe it doesn't affect any significant, and it doesn't affect the text significantly. If you are an Arabic person, and I read the recitation of the Quran, just like Waduha, Waleili, Iza, Sajamon, Wadaka, Wabuka, Wamonkola, Walala, Airatu, Minakale, Ula, Wala Sofa,
Mr.
Utika,
Fuad, you
Wabuka,
are taking
Fatarida.
just
But if you
2
want to
minutes.
use the other one, you say Wadu E, Waleili, Iza, Saje, Mon Wadaka, Wabuka, Wamonkale. It's just the
Thank you.
recitation way, and the Quran itself means recitation.
Thank
Another
you.
verse. We've answered this question. Olugbade Samuel
Yeah,
Ojogbon.
hold on. I will want to read the question for you, please. Mo rí pé àwọn aráalé fẹ́ mọ̀ pa adult breastfeeding àti stoning yẹn. So, ọ̀la, that will be our program on Sunday. The missing text of the Quran. That will be our topic we will be discussing tomorrow. And Ademamu reference wa I'm analyze the discussion Mr. Fuadi tí wọ́n ṣe lọ́rọ̀ lẹ́yìn. Ẹ má worry, orí pé everybody on béèrè. So next question máa wá mo fẹ́ béèrè next question ẹ jẹ́ má bínú. Mo lérò pé ẹ rí screen. Next question tó béèrè pé which of the Quran ni ó wà preserved? Ẹ wọ́n sọ fún wa pé no vowels kan àbẹ̀ ó lè má ẹ̀dẹ̀ fún wa ní wa dúwé wa kọ́lé wa ṣe kinní kan. Now, I want to show you, I believe you can see the screen. This is Surah 37, ayah 12. And listen to the Arabic. This is the second one. Are you telling us that this Quran is preserved? Ìkànnì balajibtu wayaskarun, ìkànnì balajibta wayaskarun. Oh, that anybody tẹ́ ń ṣe presentation fún wa, ẹni tó bá ti ní ìtumọ̀ tó yàtọ̀ is none of it, but ó gbọ́dọ̀ need the same meaning, but pronunciation lè yàtọ̀. But this thing is having different meaning. Why is it so? Pronoun ó ti yàtọ̀. Ìkànnì I, ìkànnì you. Which one is preserved out of these two?
All right, Mr. Folarin. Now, if you look at the text itself, the consonants are the same. Yes or no? I need a straight answer.
I'm talking about the meaning. Meaning. I'm not concerned about the consonant. The meaning of the text. The question is, Mr. Fuad, listen to the question.
Why are you afraid of answering this?
Hold on, Mr. Fuad. Hold on, Mr. Fuad.
I'm answering this.
You are not answering. You are questioning me. I want you to answer the question.
I will go
there.
Go
ahead and answer the question.
I will go
Please.
there. Now, yes.
Is it the same meaning?
Yes.
I wonder.
Wait.
Is it the same meaning?
Yes. Wait. Now, from the text, it's the same consonant. And the Arabic during the time of the Holy Prophets has no vowel at all. There was no vowel. They don't use vowel. They immediately see the consonant, they already know. So that's number one. And Pastor Folari is unwilling to accept, because I said it when I was making my presentation, that the consonants are the same, but the only thing is the vowel sound. And I said some tribes, some Arab tribes, find it difficult to pronounce some language, some pronunciation, but the Prophet allowed it so that for easy memorization. So if reciting, one is saying I, the other one is saying you, just like waduhe, when the general one is waduha. So I think this is not you should not cry wolf for this. Yeah, so that's just the
hello, Mr. Fuad. Mr. Fuad. All right,
yes,
thank you. Yes, thank you. Just to back up FSP. So mo fẹ́ ká get nǹkan clear ní Yorùbá so that kò ní di wọ́ọ̀lù nǹkan lù ṣe get bẹ́ẹ̀ yín sí. Ní ilẹ̀ abínibí wa nílẹ̀ Yorùbá ní báyìí. Tó bá sọ pé ilé ṣe get nísìn general Yorùbá language tó bá sọ pé ilé. Àmọ́ tẹ́ bá ti ń dé àwọn ẹ̀yà Yorùbá kan tó bá sọ pé ulé. Ṣé mọ̀ pé ilé náà ṣe ń sọ? Ṣé gbà?
Yes, sir.
All right, so ẹ dẹ̀ mọ̀ pé i ti di hu nínú èdè Yorùbá bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn nísìn. I ti di hu. Àmọ́ kò sẹ́nikẹ́ni nílẹ̀ Yorùbá tó máa gbọ́ ulé tó máa sọ pé kò túmọ̀ sí house, tàbí tó máa gbọ́ ilé tó máa sọ pé kò túmọ̀ sí house. I understanding pé ó ti ń bọ́ sí different dialect bẹ́ẹ̀ nínú ẹ̀yà Yorùbá wa yìí ṣe get nísìn. nínú Arabic tẹ́yìn wá ń sọ fún wa nísìn ẹ̀yin sọ fún wa pé bí á lẹ́tà ló yàtọ̀ meanwhile àwọn èèyàn yín fúnra wọn tọkọ kínní tó ṣe translation ẹ̀ méjèèjì wọn translate ẹ̀ ní ìtumọ̀ kan náà ṣé get point yẹn nísìn wọn sọ wípé bí example ilé tí mo fi example sí wọn ní pé ilé yẹn náà mean house ulé.
Hello.
Yeah, jẹ́ kí n
ilé yẹn ń sọ̀rọ̀ ṣe yín gbọ́ mi báyìí.
a ti ń gbọ́ yín padà.
So eléyìí ń sọ̀rọ̀ fáwẹ́lì àbí consonant báyìí kì í ṣe problem tó wà ń bẹ̀ ìtumọ̀ nǹkan tí nǹkan yẹn mú jáde báwo ni a ṣe máa ní àyà kan náà súrà kan náà ẹgẹ́ sì nísìn o tí àyà kan náà nínú súrà kan náà tí kan máa fún wa ní àwọn tí kan máa fún wọn ní èmi ẹgẹ́ sì nísìn àwọn ló sọ pé èmi ló sọ pé ṣẹgẹ́ sì nísìn adẹ̀mọ̀ wípé first person singular Allah ni ẹnu ń sọ̀rọ̀ àbí nínú Quran tálá bá sọ pé àwọn náà sọ pé tó sọ pé èmi náà sọ pé kí náà ń sọ nínú méjèèjì ó máa láwọn kan tó ń refer sí tàbí ẹnìkan tó yẹ kó òun ló ń establish discussion nù kíní yẹn so nǹkan tó fẹ́ kẹ́ ṣàlàyé gangan ni ọ̀rọ̀ consonant àti vowel ìtumọ̀ kíní yàtọ̀ síra wọn báwo ló ṣe máa yàtọ̀ ṣé méjì lálá reveal ni.
We are not crying wolf a fẹ́ kẹ́ sọ pé ṣé nǹkan kan náà ni méjèèjì ṣé méjèèjì lè lálá reveal that's our question.
èmi tí ẹ ṣe ní ìbéèrè gan sef bí a bá parí ilé mi ṣe ní
ìbéèrè mo fẹ́ táwọn mo kàn rí pé jọmọ́ ìbéèrè tí ẹni yẹn béèrè ni mo ṣe sáré mu wá ìbéèrè ṣì wà nínú comment section ẹ má worry I will allow you go ahead Mr. Fuad èwo làlá preserve nínú méjèèjì I wonder or you wonder.
Now, are you with me?
Sure.
Okay. I've told you earlier that the Quran itself, what's the meaning of the Quran?
Recite.
So, and recite, for you to recite, that's something you recite, something you take to memory. So, and it has to follow a reading when you are doing recitation. So, there are some other Arab tribes, so probably they have become extinct because the Arab tribe could have become extinct. Could have become extinct, and it's virtually possible that this tribe, for them to be able to pronounce this, it will give them problem. But as language develop with time, just like when you are reading Shakespeare, if you don't study Shakespeare, you are lost. You won't know anything.
You don't have all
oh yes, I'm explaining, and you don't want.
You don't have.
Mr. Fuad, mo fi ọ̀rọ̀ ilé àti ilé ṣàpẹẹrẹ yín fi ọ̀rọ̀ ilé àti ilé ṣàpẹẹrẹ.
Bra baby kò ní program mi nírọ̀lẹ́ yìí. Àwọn èèyàn ní program tó fẹ́ ṣe. You don't want to take all day, Mr. Fuad. Hold on.
Yes, it's a method of recitation.
Hold on, Mr. Fuad. Hold on. The question is, èwo gangan ló wá ẹni Quran wá preserve ẹ ti ka ìwé yẹn fún wa látàárọ̀ àwa ń bi pé I wonder ni àbí you wonder ẹ má ẹ kàn sọ fún wa pé méjèèjì ni o ẹyọ kan ni o ká lọ sí next question. We don't want to argue with you. We want you to talk for us.
He allowed it. From the text I told you, he allowed it for those who cannot pronounce, for those who will be able to recite it by using the other vowel sound too. The one you gave me, Wajibta and which one? Wajibtu, isn't it?
Balajibtu and Balajibta.
Balajibtu. For those who have easy way in calling to, Prophet allowed it. For those who will have easy calling ta, the Prophet allowed it. So
are they the same thing?
But since he allowed it,
that's not the answer.
Are they the same?
Yes, they are not the same. They are but the same consonant, but the same consonant.
But different meaning.
The same consonant.
The same meaning or different meaning?
The same consonant. Yes, it's a recitation. You can recite it. That's the way they need to recite it.
This is not about recitation. Meaning and recitation are different. Baba, ilé àti ule. Ìkan ìtumọ̀ kan náà. Àmọ́ bó ṣe pronounce ẹ̀ yàtọ̀. Ìtumọ̀ kan náà ni.
Ṣé ìtumọ̀ kan náà méjèèjì àsọ̀rọ̀ nípa recitation báyìí ìtumọ̀ tó gbé jáde là ń béèrè pé ṣé ìtumọ̀ kan náà ni Balajibta Balajibtu lọ́dọ̀ tiyín.
Kò ń ṣe ìtumọ̀ kan náà.
Okay. Aláwárí bíi àyà kan ní ọ̀nà méjì tó sì yàtọ̀ síra wọn. Okay, ẹ jẹ́ ká lọ sí next question.
I've explained to you, but you don't understand. It's the same consonant. Yes, but tó bá fẹ́ recite ẹ̀, ìwọ tó bá fẹ́ recite ẹ̀ ní halfway.
Ó ti yé wa pé recitation ló yàtọ̀. Ìtumọ̀ náà sì yàtọ̀. Àbí nǹkan tẹ́ sọ kọ́ yẹn?
Ìtumọ̀ it's insignificant because is not
significant.
I want.
It's insignificant.
Àbí kí lẹ sọ?
Yes, it's insignificant.
Báwo ni ìtumọ̀ nǹkan tẹ́ ń ká ṣe máa wà insignificant?
It's insignificant.
Ẹ mọ̀ tó máa wọ̀ dẹ́sán sí ìtumọ̀ nǹkan ò ní kò ní.
It's because you don't get the Arabic language. You understand? You are taking the Quran that be poem ni. You understand? Ìwọ tó bá fẹ́ kà in a particular way.
It is wọ́n béèrè bí wọ́n ṣe ń kà, wọ́n béèrè recitation àbí pattern of reading.
Ní IU yẹn kò ní any significance. Torí ẹni prophet aláwẹ̀ àwọn èèyàn kan wá kà wọ́n sọ fún pé ìgbà tí Umar rí ẹnìkan tó ka oní high ànábì sọ pé kó filẹ̀ so that tóun bá force ẹ̀ ní U yẹn ó lè má lè gbà mí sórí. So yẹn kò sí significance rẹ̀.
Mr. Fuad, mo fẹ́ agree pẹ̀lú yín. Check it. Now, ẹ dúró mo fẹ́ agree pẹ̀lú yín, but on one condition. Ẹ sọ fún wa ẹ̀yin kẹ́yìn lẹ sọ fún wa sí pé nígbà tí prophet rí ẹnìkan tó kà ní I àtẹni tó kà ní oníkan fi ṣe lè fún wa ní ẹ̀rí níbi tí wọ́n ti ka the same surah the same aya kan náà yẹn ní I àti U tó yẹ pé ẹ mọ̀ pé I èmi U ìwọ the same aya kan náà yẹn ẹ fún wa ní ẹ̀rí kan ṣoṣo.
Umar lọ bá ẹnìkan.
Ẹ fún wa lẹ́rìí níbi tó kọ síbẹ̀ ẹ fún wa lẹ́rìí yẹn.
Umar ó rí èèyàn kan tó ń ka Quran.
Gbọ́dọ̀ ẹnu kọ́tẹ́ yìí sọ ẹ̀rí ń pé Umar rí ẹni yẹn tó ń kà ní I bí Umar bẹ̀ mọ́ ní tiẹ̀ ní U ó wá lọ bá Muhammed wá ní pé I àti U the same thing.
You don't get it mo ti already explain ní pé irú wàdúrà normal 90% of kìíní a máa ń lo apps wàdúrà wà léèlì ìzásàjà but táwọn ìwọ́tọ̀ títí máa fẹ́ kà nípa máa fẹ́ lo wáṣínsìn wàdúrà ni máa lò wàdúrà wà léèlì ìzásàjẹ wọn wá dọ́ka wọ búkà wà mọ́ ń kọ́ lé.
ṣé ìtumọ̀ kan náà làwọn méjèèjì ní I àti U èyí ṣe the same thing.
But that if you want to read it that way.
ẹ̀rí yẹn ni mo fẹ́ kẹ́ mú wá ẹ̀rí kẹ́ sọ pé ẹ ní ẹ̀mọ̀ pẹ́ sọ́dẹ̀ kan yẹn sì pé n pé ibi tí wọ́n ti lọ bá prophet Muhammed àbí
Fọlárin knows about it. Ask Fọlárin will give you. Ask Fọlárin will give you.
àwọn yẹn ṣe custodian of Islam tó máa kó gbogbo tó máa ní pé ẹni sùúrù ẹ̀yin gangan ni Muslim ẹni sùúrù.
Let me give it to you. Let me give you.
Ṣé máa gbọ́ mi? Yes. Nǹkan tèmi sọ lélẹ̀. Ẹ sọ pé wọ́n lọ bá prophet. Ẹni pé wọ́n lọ bá prophet pé ẹnìkan kà ní I, ẹnìkan kà ní U. Prophet wa ní kò sí wàhálà bẹ́ẹ̀ náà.
Mi ò sọ pé I, U o.
Nǹkan tẹ́ sọ nìyẹn wà recorded o.
You didn't get my context. That's it. You know, I will not be able to help you guys if you don't.
You cannot help us, any sùúrù.
Yes,
you cannot
help
us because I need
the
help. Ẹ̀yin gangan lẹ miss quote ara yín.
No,
ẹ̀yin gangan lẹ miss quote ara yín.
I told you at the beginning.
Ẹ sọ̀rọ̀ I àti U àbí ẹ sọ bẹ́ẹ̀.
I told you at the beginning.
Ẹni sùúrù, ṣé sọ̀rọ̀ I àti U àbí ẹ sọ bẹ́ẹ̀.
Mo sọ̀rọ̀ I àti U.
Very good. Ṣé ẹ sọ pé wọ́n lọ bá Muhammed pé wọ́n béèrè lọ́wọ́ ẹ̀ ó dẹ̀ ní pé kó kà bẹ́ẹ̀ àbí ẹ sọ bẹ́ẹ̀.
What I said was that.
Ẹni sùúrù, ṣé sọ bẹ́ẹ̀ àbí ẹ sọ bẹ́ẹ̀.
That was not what I said. You are getting me wrong.
Okay, ẹ dúró ẹ sọ bẹ́ẹ̀ àbí. No, Sherry, ọ̀rọ̀ yóò long. Ẹ kàn sọ pé ẹ sọ bẹ́ẹ̀ mi ní báyìí fà.
You are getting me wrong. What I said is that wait now.
Ẹ sọ bẹ́ẹ̀ àbí ẹ sọ bẹ́ẹ̀ yes or no wà á dẹ̀ lọ́kọ̀.
I didn't say that.
Ẹ sọ finish.
Yes, what I said is that Umar had somebody reading Quran in a certain way. And he challenged that person that you are not reading it as the prophet told me. So he took the guy to the prophet. And the prophet said, leave him, he's also reading it. So you understand. But from this text that you gave me is the same consonant. But the way to read it is that. So if I want to read in my own normal way, Egypta, I will read it. If I want to read it like that one, it's a book of recitation. It's just like Iru Kini Kuli Awuzu Birobi Nasi Malik Nasi Minsa. It's a recitation unlike the Bible.
Mr. Fuad.
Yes, sir.
now ṣé ẹ agree pé nǹkan tá à ń béèrè lọ́wọ́ yín a béèrè recitation ṣé ẹ agree.
Yes, mo agree.
Very good. Ṣé ẹ agree pé a béèrè pronunciation.
I told you.
Ẹ ní sùúrù ṣé ẹ agree ẹ ní sùúrù now.
Ẹ ń béèrè pronunciation ni.
Ó ní pé ṣá béèrè lọ́wọ́ yín pé
we are reading now.
Ṣá béèrè pronunciation lọ́wọ́ yín.
Yes, ẹ ń béèrè ni because.
Tó bá yẹ pé pronunciation là ẹ ní sùúrù ẹ ní sùúrù ẹ ní sùúrù ẹ ní sùúrù ẹ máa gbọ́ mi yé ẹ kì í ṣe ìmọ̀ ọkàn ẹ ní láti gbọ́ mi yé kẹ́lẹ́ mọ́ mo fẹ́ sọ ẹ ní sùúrù.
Tí bá wà lẹ́sàmọ̀ tí bá lọ fún Kùránì competition lénìí tó bá sọ pé kí n ka halves tí bá lọ ka wash mo gbé gbági ni.
Ẹ ní sùúrù ẹ ní kọ́tẹ́ sọ ẹ sì kò sí ọ̀nà bí ẹ lè kàn àwa ẹ gbọ́ kọ́tà ń sọ ẹ̀yin ò ti gbọ́ ẹ ní sùúrù ẹ sì gbọ́ mi yé náà ẹ gbọ́ kan tí mo fẹ́ sọ.
I won't be able to help you out.
Ẹ lè ní sísẹ́ gbọ́ kan tí mo fẹ́ sọ àbí. At least mo rò pé ẹ ti wà nínú comparative kìíní ìtìpẹ́.
Since 1993.
Ẹ ní sùúrù ẹ ṣe gan ẹ ní sùúrù tó bá yẹ pé ọdún tẹ́ sọ yẹn lẹ ti wà lórí kìíní ó yẹ kẹ́ mọ̀ nǹkan tó ń pè ní presupposition. Kí náà pè ní presupposition?
Go ahead and talk. I'm listening to you.
That means ẹ tí mọ̀ presupposition ni pé thought àti understanding ẹni tẹ́ ń bá sọ̀rọ̀ lórí nǹkan tó ń sọ tẹ́ ẹ bá gbọ́ yé ẹ ní mọ̀ angle bí tó ti ń bọ̀ tí bá ní pé Jésù orí ẹ̀ bend nísìn pé kan tí mo gbàgbọ́ nìyẹn ẹ̀yin fẹ́ sọ fún mi pé orí ẹ̀ ò bend nísìn láti convince mi ẹ máa kọ́kọ́ gbọ́ nǹkan tèmi sọ ẹ mọ̀ nǹkan tí mo believe ẹ wá mọ̀ bẹ́ ṣe máa wá present ẹ̀ fún mi àlàyé lèmi ń ṣe fún yín sẹ́yìn ò tí gbọ́ tèmi ẹ ti rò pé ẹ ti mọ̀ gbogbo ẹ̀ so ẹ ní sùúrù báyìí nísìn pronunciation là ń sọ̀rọ̀ nípa ẹ̀ a ní fi ilé àti ulé a ní fi ṣàpẹẹrẹ fún yín ilé àti ulé pronunciation ọ̀tọ̀ọ̀tọ̀ ni a dẹ̀ ní problem pẹ̀lú yẹn ṣe get point yẹn nísìn so yẹn mo ṣe ń béèrè lọ́wọ́ yín pé ṣé pronunciation lẹ́rù pa ni àwa ń béèrè lọ́wọ́ yín ni tẹ̀lé ní pé bẹ́ẹ̀ ni so àwa mo nullify yẹn sí pé kì í ṣe pronunciation kì í ṣe recitation meaning ìtumọ̀ là ń bí yín ilé àti ulé house ní méjèèjì lédè òyìnbó Balajipta àti Balajiptu wọn kì í ṣe ìtumọ̀ kan náà lédè òyìnbó simple as ABC.
So Mr. Fuad intan bí yín náà kò ṣe nǹkan tó yẹ ká tiẹ̀ bára wa jiyàn lé lórí.
No
ẹni Quran wà preserve ẹni Quran wà preserve àti wá rí i pé a ti ní àyà kan báyìí tó sọ̀kalẹ̀ lẹ́ẹ̀mejì tó sọ̀kalẹ̀ lọ́nà tó yàtọ̀ síra wọn àyà kan náà ìbéèrè tá à ń bí yín ni pé èwo ló wà preserved ńbẹ̀ ní pẹ̀lú ìtumọ̀ ẹ̀ kì í ṣe pronunciation là ń bí yín kì í ṣe recitation là ń bí yín ìtumọ̀ méjèèjì yàtọ̀ síra wọn tẹ́ bá fẹ́ pàfin léèbù tẹ́ bá fẹ́ pè àfin léèbù fún wa lókun Balajipta ó yàtọ̀ síra wọn èwo là láà preserve.
mo ti explain pé recitation tó bá fẹ́ lo halves ẹ máa lo wajipta tó bá fẹ́ lo wash ó láwọn èèyàn kan tó yẹ kí wọ́n lè ka.
FSP yẹ ká move on. Ṣé mo lè béèrè béèrè?
Yeah, move on. You can't understand, so that's it.
Ṣé mo lè béèrè béèrè tèmi rẹ̀ sí?
I know àwọn aráalé wọ́n ti get nǹkan tá à ń sọ.
Agbára Ọlọ́run. So FSP ṣé mo lè béèrè béèrè tèmi? FSP ṣé mo lè béèrè?
English Shakespeare. Are we using it today?
All right, sir. Mr. Fuad.
Yes.
Yeah, inú mi dùn for presentation tí ẹ ṣe yìí.
Yes, English of Shakespeare is we are no more using it. So
all right,
it's possible that àwọn tó ń lò yẹn it's no more in use.
Mo fẹ́ béèrè Mr. Fuad.
Yes,
Mr.
okay,
Fuad.
Continue.
Yeah, àti close the chapter àárín yẹn. Èmi fẹ́ béèrè béèrè. Okay, so now during the time of the first caliphate, that is Abubakar. Now, wọ́n compile Quran nígbà yẹn. Ṣe get nísìn ọmọ Abubakar dẹ̀ ní ọmọ kan mo fẹ́ kẹ́ máa correct mi ti bá wrong ẹmọ kémi ò lè mọ Islam láwọn level kan dé tọ́lọ yín so Hafsa lórúkọ ọmọ yẹn ṣé mo right.
Continue.
All right, so nígbà tó di third caliph Uthman ìgbà yẹn ni wọ́n ti wá bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ní different Quran manuscript tó ti ń kọ̀ sí wàhálà tí Uthman ní kan lọ sún now èyí tán wá kọ ṣe gẹ́sì nísìn nígbà yẹn wọ́n ní kọ́ lọ wọ́n ò pé àwọn tó mọ̀ lórí wọ́n ní kọ́ lọ mú hard copy ṣe gẹ́sì nísìn èyí tó ti wà ńlẹ̀ tẹ́lẹ̀ wà èyí láti ṣe Abubakar compile wọ́n gbà lọ́wọ́ ọmọ Abubakar tó ń jẹ́ Hafsa ìyẹn náà gbà ibẹ̀ ni wọ́n ti wá copy jáde wọn ní kọ́ pé àwọn èèyàn jókòó kan bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ní máa forí wọn rò ó wọ́n wá ní pé wọ́n ní kọ́ mú hard copy yẹn wá ibẹ̀ náà ti wá copy jáde hard copy yẹn Islamic tradition jẹ́ kó yé wa pé wọ́n náà pín sí 4 provinces of Islam as at that time. Now ìbéèrè mi lélẹ̀.
5
Original
tiẹ̀ ní
copy
5.
5 ni àbí? Okay. Original copy tó wà lọ́wọ́ Hafsa yẹn àtàwọn tó pín sí 5 provinces yẹn àwọn dà lọ́jọ́ tèmi.
Yes, number one. Are you aware that now 7 copies ni? Hello?
7 copies. Níbo náà kọ sí ilé
Yes.
ẹ̀kọ́ 7 copies.
7 copies ni. 7 copies ni. Nínú reference tèmi, during the caliphate of Uthman, 7 copies
Okay.
of the Quran were dispatched to different parts of the Muslim world, and they in turn became the standard text from which other copies were made. And thereafter, in each generation, hundreds of thousands of people have been in the habit of committing the entire text of the Quran to memory. So, from my own source, yes. So that is it.
Ẹ fún mi ní ṣẹlẹ̀ fún mi ní kíní yẹn kémi náà lè mọ̀ mo tún kí lè háàdì mọ̀ kún mọ̀. Ẹ lè fún
From
mi
my
reference.
own, from yes,
Reference
I won't give you I won't give you my own reference for some reasons. For some reasons, I won't give you my own reference.
Ẹ lè fún wa reference.
Yes, I won't. I won't give you my reference.
Gbogbo ayé ti mọ Islam.
Gbogbo ayé.
One, you are representing Islam.
Yes,
Don't
I
you
won't
know?
give you my reference. So go to Wikipedia.
Ẹ
Go
gbà
to
mí reference ní
Wikipedia.
Wikipedia kò ń ṣe sunna.com kì í ṣe Islamic
No,
KSA
no.
kì í ṣe site Islam
nígbàgbọ́
kankan.
ni.
Báwo lẹ máa ṣe máa fi
nígbàgbọ́ ni.
Wikipedia compare Islamic source?
Ìyẹn kò sí nǹkan tó bad níbẹ̀.
Okay, Wikipedia ni Islamic source. Àwọn KSA King Saudi Arabia yẹn ń ṣe original. Sunna.com ń ṣe original.
Àní 7 ni.
Ẹ jẹ́ ká tẹ̀síwájú. Mr. Fuad,
Alright,
this
sir.
is another question. Nítorí ẹ mọ̀ pé ẹni ká ó dà pé.
Oya. So ibo ni
class-
ẹ má bínú wọn ti down. Ẹ má bínú sáwọn ti down béèrè.
ẹ tẹ̀síwájú.
So ibo ni Quranu títí Hafsa yẹn tó copy látara ẹ̀yẹn tí ọmọ Abubakar yẹn ibo ni Quran yẹn wà léni. Èyí tó pín sí ṣebí 7 lẹ pé 7 provinces yẹn. Àwọn Quran yẹn àtàwọn 7 provinces name yẹn ibo náà wà lọ́jọ́ tèmi.
Okay. Now tá bá lọ sí Wikipedia, ẹ máa rí reference mo sọ pé Uthman he shared 7 ló share. So ó wà nínú Wikipedia. Now
Nǹkan tí mo béèrè pé àwọn yẹn dà.
yes, àwọn yẹn dà. Okay, ṣé tí Uthman ń send.
Àti èyí tó wà lọ́wọ́ Hafsa ọmọ Abubakar àti èyí tó share sáwọn provinces of Islam àwọn dà.
Òun là ń lò ń sìn.
Get the point mi. Ṣé ẹyọ kan yẹn nísìn òun ló sọ̀rọ̀ èdè púpọ̀ original. Mo ń béèrè ẹyọ kan yẹn gangan ẹyọ kan tó send yẹn èyí tó wà lọ́wọ́ Hafsa. For instance nísìn Dead Sea Scrolls senior New Testament ó dẹ̀ ṣì wà dé ní ṣẹ́gẹ́sì nísìn. So èyí tí mo ń béèrè lọ́wọ́ yín èyí tó wà lọ́wọ́ Hafsa ọmọ Abubakar tó copy látara ẹ̀ àti èyí tó pín sáwọn 4 provinces yẹn àwọn dà lọ́jọ́ tèmi níbo láti lè rí reference of Islam reference ẹyọ kan rí ayé tó sọ wípé we have it òun ló wà nínú copy níbi báyìí nínú museum báyìí o níbi báyìí náà tó wà báyìí o òun dà.
Yes, ẹ lè rí ó wà.
Òun dà níbo ni ẹ fún wa reference.
Ẹ ní sùúrù.
Di wákàtí mélòó?
Just 5 minutes. If tẹ́ bá lọ sí Turkish Islamic and Art Museum in Istanbul, you'll see it there.
Kì í ṣe òun ló wà ń bẹ̀. Ẹ fún mi lórúkọ èyí tó wà ń bẹ̀ yẹn. Bó tẹ̀ ẹ́ pé mi náà
òun ló wà ń bẹ̀.
Kì í ṣe òun sẹ́.
Òun ló wà ń bẹ̀ òun ní the Quran manuscript attributed to Caliph Uthman. The Quran manuscript attributed to Caliph
Ìwé tẹ́lẹ̀
Uthman.
fún wa lórúkọ ẹ̀ lẹ́ńkà yẹn.
Ẹ lè fún wa lórúkọ ṣọ́ọ̀ṣì nǹkan tẹ́ ẹ sọ.
Let me give you my source. islam.org.tr. Again, share link here. I will share the link. Yes, I will send the link. No, Matthew, send it. It's public. It's not something. Yes, so Muti send us a comment section. Muti send us a comment section. You can see it there. Lori Facebook. You understand?
Ṣé ẹ ti rí FSP mi tí ì rí o? Okay.
Èmi ò rí o.
Okay, mo ti rí ẹ máa open ẹ̀ nísìn. So títí Hafsa dà báyìí. ẹyọkan eléyìí gan tẹ fún wa yìí
Uthman ló ṣe standard version fún
no
wọn.
ẹ dúró eléyìí tẹ fún wa yìí nísìnyí àmọ́ èyí tó jẹ́ provinces wo lélẹ̀ tí province wo lélẹ̀ báyìí nísìnyí.
You don't understand. Gbọ́n kan tí mo ń sọ Uthman ó ṣe ó dẹ̀ fáwọn ó ṣe 7 copies.
private
Standard Uthman tá ń lọ.
private
No, mo ti send ẹ̀ sí public, mo ti send ẹ̀
mi
sí
ò lè
public.
rí mi tẹ send ẹ̀ sí yẹn mi ò lè lásẹ̀ sí.
Okay. Mi ò dẹ̀ sí lórí okay.
ẹ jẹ́ bá yín paste FSP.
Okay, ẹ ṣé jàre.
mo ti fi sí private ẹ check ẹ mẹ́.
mo ti rí. Mr. Afshan ti dáhùn béèrè yín.
wọ́n ìbéèrè wọn tí ì dáhùn wọn.
What's your question?
Quranic èyí tẹ́ sọ nsìn Mushaf Uthman èyí tó tẹnipọ́n pín sí provinces yẹn eléyìí province wo ni èyí tó dẹ̀ wà lọ́wọ́ Hafsa tó lọ tọ́jú padà òun dà.
Uthman ló standardize kìíní standardization Uthman ló ti bẹ̀rẹ̀.
ṣebí tó copy lọ́wọ́ Hafsa ọmọ Abubakar ni Hafsa náà dà tí eléyìí gan tó tẹnipín 7 provinces àwọn 7 provinces yìí bó ló wà.
Òun ni mo ti fún yín ẹ lọ sí.
ẹyọkan lélẹ́yìí eléyìí gan àdẹ̀ sí validate ẹ̀.
ẹ lọ go and do that will be your assignment, go and validate it.
kì í ṣàṣàyàn mo wà lórí ẹ̀ báyìí mi ò rí òun ń kà mí wáyé.
Òun ni mo ti kọ the Quran manuscript attributed to
Mr. Fuad.
Islam and
Mr. Fuad.
Yes sir.
Agbẹ̀yìn wá bí nítorí pé àkíyèsí pé ẹ ní sùúrù ẹ jẹ́ kí n land bí bá ti ń sọ̀rọ̀ ẹ jẹ́ kí n land. I don't like talking over people. Agbẹ̀yìn wá síbí yìí kẹ́ ẹ lè defend Islam ni o. Agbẹ̀yìn wá ká lè ṣàwẹ́wà o. Àmọ́mọ́ àwọn èèyàn tí ń sọ pé kò yẹ ká gbé a fẹ́ gbọ́ látẹnu mùsùlùmí tọ́pìkì tẹ́ mú lálẹ́ ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ló ń sá tí wọ́n fẹ́ sọ̀rọ̀ nípa ẹ̀ o. Ṣùgbọ́n tẹ́ ẹ bá ní ẹ má sọ pé fún assignment kankan yà need assignment.
FSP
ẹni sùúrù.
mo fẹ́ ka kíní yẹn jáde. Okay.
So ẹgbọ́n ẹ jẹ́ kí n láàdì pẹ̀lú wọn torí kó lè yé wọn nǹkan tá à ń ṣe àtàwọn aráalé. Ṣé rí ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ àwọn èèyàn wà ń kọ́mẹ̀sì wọ́n rò bí akọ̀mọ́mọ̀ gbé wá kó wá purọ́ fún wọn rárá. Ṣé rí àwọn mùsùlùmí àti àwọn èèyàn a ní láti ṣe rí nǹkan tá a fòwádìí ṣe nísìn ó ń fẹ̀ dí Islam fún aráyé ni pé it's all about ká máa mọ̀mú lòmù mọ́ra wọn. Mr. Fuad, this is your golden opportunity to defend Islam. A fún yín ní golden ample chances. Ẹ má throw away. Ìtọ́ bá ń bi yín ẹ má sọ pé fún assignment. Ẹ má mú òjò kẹ́ lọ máa fi pé àìná. Kùránì là ń sọ̀rọ̀ pa ẹ̀. Ọ̀rọ̀ Bíbélì lẹ lọ́mú ẹ pé Bible ni wọ́n ń kà ní. Gbogbo nǹkan bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn ẹ má jẹ́ kó jẹ́ àwàdà. Ẹ ní sùúrù. You have golden chance to defend Islam. Gbogbo nǹkan tá a ti sọ láti jọ yìí. Agbẹ̀yìn wá kẹ́lẹ̀ wá disprove it, but you are not doing better. Please, I'm advising you. I'm not advising you. Stop saying you are giving us assignment. Assignment has been given to you. Do it for us. Stop giving us assignment.
You asked me for
FSP ó sì ti dá ẹsẹ̀ ti share screen already. Ó yẹ scroll lọ sísàlẹ̀ díẹ̀. Ẹ scroll lọ sálẹ̀ FSP. Mo fi nǹkan tó share fún wa lélẹ̀. Ẹ share ó ti dá báyìí. Now gbogbo èèyàn ń fẹ́ kájọ ka kínní. Wọ́n ní older publications such as the Pashnet copy that is attributed àwọn èèyàn ló attribute to Caliph Uthman. Àwọn kọ̀ọ̀kan tó fẹ́ kẹ́ gẹ́sì ní pé wọ́n sọ province tí ó ṣe ẹ̀ sí. Wọ́n kàn ní pé wọ́n attribute which was published by Russian in 1905 and Paris National Library, Hijra 1 and 2 centuries, St. Petersburg, London copies half section and are incomplete. Quran yẹn kò complete. Ẹ bá wọn kàn fi sí bracket wọ́n ní one is 1/3 of the Quran, the other is 1/4 of the Quran. Ṣé ti get? Ibi méjì ní nísìn Russian pẹ̀lú Paris. However, being known as the oldest copies, Topkapi Palace Museum and Museum of Turkish and Islamic Art and Al-Mashhad Al-Husseini being Al-Qira, copies are accepted near complete. Each one is missing only a few pages. Kò pé. Ṣé ti gẹ́sì bẹ́ẹ̀ nísìn ibi tí mo kàn fẹ́ kà jáde nìyẹn. So báwo láyé lè wà very very sure kò pé lè wà so sure of àwọn manuscript yìí nísìn. So tí Hafsa gan bá eléyìí wọn ni the oldest wọ́n dẹ̀ publish in 1905 oldest to publish in 1905. Ṣé gẹ́sì nísìn. So as at now bá ṣe ń sọ̀rọ̀ báyìí nísìn Hafsa Quran ni Hafsa tóbi tó ti copy original àwọn báyìí nísìn ó ti sọnù torí tó bá yẹ pé ogun ló mọ̀ lórí ni kò yẹ kó lọ gbéwèé. Allah fúnra rẹ̀ jẹ́ kó yé wa pé Muhammad gan máa ń gbàgbé Quran. Tí ẹni tó jẹ́ prophet yín bá ń gbàgbé Quran, mélòó ẹ̀yin fúnra ara yín, ìyẹn náà ṣe rely lórí original copy tó wà lọ́wọ́ Hafsa ọmọ Abubakar. Ìyẹn báyìí nísìnyí àdẹ̀rí mọ́ ká fi lè affirm àwọn tó kù. So nǹkan tèmi kàn fẹ́ sọ nìyẹn. So ẹ ṣe gan, ẹ lè tẹ̀síwájú sà.
Yes, as I told you earlier, I've given you that one. That's the manuscript. There's another one. There's another one which I will share. I will share it on the comment section. It's also Uthmanic, because Uthman was the one that standardized the whole stuff. I've shared it on the online. So we all know that the book has been committed to memory, and unlike any other books, so I believe that answers your question.
Okay, can I go ahead and ask another question?
Mr. Yes, Fuad, you can go ahead. You can go ahead.
This is my last question before we maybe could or some listener have question. Gbogbo àwọn comment wọ́n ní àwọn ò rí question yín, wọ́n rí ìdáhùn sí bọ́ ìbéèrè yín.
Wọ́n rí ìdáhùn.
Ẹ gbọ́ question, ẹ gbọ́ àdìtì ẹ jọ̀ọ́. Ẹ ṣé. Ẹ gbọ́ nǹkan tó sọ o. You are the best among the inhabitants of Basra, for you are the reciters among them. So continue to recite it, but bear in mind that your reciting for a long time may not harden your heart, as were hardening the heart of those before you. We used to recite a surah which resembled in length and severity to Surah Barat. I have, however, forgotten it, with the exception of this, which I remember out of it. Can you explain this hadith for us?
Yes, we used to recite it.
And we used to recite a surah which resembled one of the surah of Musabihat, and I have forgotten it. But remember this much out of it. Are you getting it now? So kí ló ṣẹlẹ̀ sáwọn yẹn tí wọ́n gbàgbé? Àbí Bible náà tún ni?
Now, èèyàn mélòó ló gbàgbé ẹ̀? Èèyàn mélòó ló ń sọ̀rọ̀? Ta ló sọ̀rọ̀? Èèyàn mélòó ló gbàgbé ẹ̀?
It's in the hadith. You can read the hadith again.
Èèyàn mélòó ló, that's it's just one person. One person ló gbàgbé ẹ̀. A dẹ̀ mọ̀ pé we have more than 2,500 recitations. So tóun bá gbàgbé ẹ̀, àwọn tó kù ò gbàgbé ẹ̀. That answers your question.
Okay. Ìbò wa ni tí wọ́n kà yín tí wọ́n rí mọ́ yín bo ló wà báyìí tọ́wẹ́ kún wọn gbàgbé ẹ̀.
Ṣé bí àwọn ìgbà tó ń gbàgbé àwọn tó kù ò ní gbàgbé náà, because it's a living tradition.
Wọ́n ní wọn rí mọ́, kò sí àwọn ìtọ́kọ yẹn kò sí mọ́ nínú Quran lẹ́ni. Ìbò ló wà.
Kò ṣe pé kò sí mọ́, àwọn tó kù ń gbàgbé ẹ̀. Òun ni and we used to recite a surah which resemble. You've taken it away.
Ibi tó ti bẹ̀rẹ̀ rè.
We used to recite a surah which resembles.
However.
Wait, let's start from. We used to recite a surah which resembles in length and severity to Surah to Bara. I have, however, forgotten it, with the exception of this, which I remember out of it. If there were 2 volleys full of riches for son of Adam, he will long for a 3rd valley, and nothing will fill the stomach of the son of Adam but dust. And we used to recite a surah which resemble. I'm coming. For the son of Adam, I would long for a 3rd day. I used to recite a surah which is one of surah, and I've forgotten it, but remember out of it. Oh.
Oh yeah, níbo làwọn nǹkan tó ń kọ yẹn níbo ló wà lẹ́yìn láti máa rí before we call it a day. Tí Quran bá wà preserved, níbo ni tó bá yẹ kó tó tọ́ òun nìkan ló gbàgbé. We can still give you tons of verses tí Muhammad ló ń gbàgbé and so many other verses, but so far
wait.
Ẹ jẹ́ kí n béèrè question mi, níbo ló wà lẹ́ni nínú Quran àbí bo ló wà?
Now tá bá wo àyà yẹn dáadáa, it's possible it's possible kó máa sọ̀rọ̀ lórí context. You understand? Kó máa sọ̀rọ̀ lórí context. So that is it.
Context ní verse lọ́dọ̀ tí yín.
Yes, he's talking about context. Bóyá ó gbàgbé out of it, and we know that the prophet made it compulsory for the people to read, so it has been memorized. So all these ones is of no significance. If one of them forgets a part or something like that, it's of no significance. So that's just it.
It's not about but we are not seeing it in the Quran of today.
That is it. Bóyá commentary, bóyá nǹkan tó ń kà, bóyá comment ó kọ̀ dàbí bóyá wọ́n sọ̀rọ̀ nípa
commentary ó ní verses recite àwọn recite ẹ̀ ká àdìtì ta fún yín ni.
You don't understand what I'm saying. You don't understand what I'm saying now.
Níbo ló wà àrínú Quran lẹ́ni? Where are those verses? That's the question we are asking.
You don't get it. Okay, now let me explain to you again.
It's not assumption. Don't give us assumptions, sir.
No, that is it. Because the book has been memorized already.
Where are those verses? If it has been memorized, níbo náà wà lẹ́ni?
Ìgbà tó ń memorize kìíní, bóyá ìgbà tó ń sọ̀rọ̀ nípa Adam, pé we created Adam from clay, bóyá ó gbàgbé àwọn nǹkan. There are many other. We have like 3,000 people that have memorized it. So this is of no use. If one person is having a problem with his memory, and if one person out of 3,000 is having problem with his memory, then it doesn't change anything, because the book has been memorized and it has a reading like that. Wajibta, wajibtu. If you want to read it like that, you have a way to read. So it has been memorized. So that's the beauty of the Quran, which you guys can never get anywhere. So if this particular guy forgets maybe the commentary or the meaning, forget anything. So what does it doesn't change anything. It doesn't change. So that's just it.
Mr. Fuad, Mr. Fuad, about recite, they're not recite. Verse ta ló sọ nìyẹn bá recite. Somebody say you should help them to recite them, please. Before we.
You don't understand. Òun rántí ó kọ̀ dàbí kan sọ̀rọ̀ nípa Adam, kó wá sọ pé òun ti gbàgbé side ibì kan. So sọ̀rọ̀ nípa commenting nǹkan tó ṣẹlẹ̀. You understand? And we know this hadith àtọwọ́dọ́wọ́ ni. So we wouldn't know the context of what he's saying. You understand what I'm saying? And this is a book that they use it to eat. They use the Quran to drink. They sleep with it. They work with it. They read it to get money. They do all these things. So this man might have memory loss. So it doesn't change anything, because Zaid ibn Thabit, that's the respected secretary of the Prophet, memorized it off head. There are many. From the presentation I read, you saw how this. So if this man is having issues with his memory, who cares? That is it.
Yes, sir. Now, Mr. Fuad, thank you for coming to our program.
All right, thank you very much.
Wá dùn pé ẹ ti fún wa ní gbogbo inte mọ̀ nípa preservation of the Quran. Ṣùgbọ́n tó ṣe mí láàánú, ẹ jẹ́ kí n fún yín láwọn nǹkan tó ṣe mí láàánú ni pé adult of breastfeeding àrímọ́, ṣùgbọ́n yín sọ pé kì í ṣe inú Quran, inú Bible ni.
But we have similar verse.
Téèyàn bá ń sọ̀rọ̀, you don't talk over him. Èmi ń dákẹ́ fún yín so that people can learn. Ẹ jẹ́ káwọn èèyàn gbọ́ nǹkan tí mo fẹ́ sọ. So àwọn ará ilé ti kẹ́kọ̀ọ́ lọ́dọ̀ yín nísìn pé adult breastfeeding tí ewúrẹ́ jẹ Aisha ó ti mú gbóyò ni o, kò mọ nǹkan tó ń sọ. Gẹ́gẹ́ according to you pé
no, Aisha ẹni tó report to ẹni o, kò ń ṣe ẹni tó report after 300 years. No, ẹni tó report to ẹ ló ṣe mistake. Yes, don't say I said Aisha mú gbóyò.
Can I finish my point?
Yes.
You have made your presentation, and this is my own comment. And
okay.
Yeah. So in tó yé wa gbangba ni pé ẹ ń jẹ́ kó yé wa pé àdìtì yẹn o ẹni tó kọ́ ti mu ògógóró yó. Kò mọ nǹkan tó
ṣe mistake. Ó ṣe mistake.
Ó ti lu dàkó.
No, ó ṣe
mistake. Sùúrù, I'm making complete. Can you hold on for me? You have spent about 2 hours talking to us. Let me finish make my point.
Don't make bad statements. Yes.
Please, I'm begging you. Just keep quiet and let me make my point.
Okay.
Yeah, from my all indication, you can tell me grab nínú ọ̀rọ̀ yín lèmi ń sọ. Just listen to me carefully. If I am wrong, you can tell me you are wrong. But listen first. Into yé wa nínú ọ̀rọ̀ yín ni pé ẹni tó kọ Sunan Ibn Majah ó ti mú ògógóró yó àbí kan ti nà lóògùn àbí kọ́pọlọ rẹ̀ ti
ó ṣe
sáfún.
mistake Bible sí Quran.
Ṣé Yorùbá ò yé yín ni Mr.
ẹ bá sọ
Fuad?
pé ó lò gógóró kò dáa, it's a bad language and it's not fair.
Ìtumọ̀ ẹ̀ lọ́dọ̀ tèmi bó ṣe yé mi tí ọ̀rọ̀ yín ṣe yé mi sílẹ̀ mi ń tú ẹ ní sùúrù. Let me finish my point. Tí bá wá láǹdì tán lẹ́wà ní àǹtí mo lò ń bí ó rọ́ǹgì o lójú tèmi yóò bá mú ògógóró yó báwo lẹ́nìkan ṣe kún fún ọpọlọ tọpọlọ rẹ̀ ò ní lọ tó sì mọ̀ tó ṣe tó sì tẹ̀lé àlá táwa jókòó táwa máa ní àyà Kùránì tá n ká yìí ó ti ewúrẹ́ ti jẹ́ o. Ìkan tó lè ṣe possibility ni ìsádà kó ti mú ògógóró yó.
ọpọlọ ẹ lọ ni
ọ kí wọ́n ti nà lóògùn kó ti nà lápánsá kọ́pọlọ rẹ̀ ti sáfẹ́ ọ kó má kébi ti pákú ọ kó jẹ́ pé ànábì ìṣẹ́ tó wá fẹ́ yẹ̀yẹ́ ànábì ọ kó jẹ́ pé ó ṣe àlá gan fúnra rẹ̀ kò ó ṣẹ́ so àwọn nǹkan pọ̀ sí.
wọn pé kò lọ́mọ láyé ìyẹn náà lè affect ẹ.
màá sì yẹ oyé àwọn mùsùlùmí lé ní pé ẹ kò lọ́dọ̀ mi so nǹkan tí mo mú jáde yẹ baby code.
ẹ mọ̀ pé kò lọ́mọ láyé kékeré náà ti molest ẹ̀ so ó lè yẹn náà lè pẹ̀lú ó ti lè lóró yẹn nú.
Oró yẹn pé ẹ fẹ́ bà tèmi jẹ́ bèmí náà sì kọ́kọ́ bà tiyín jẹ́ ṣèbẹ́yìn lẹ ní kìíní so tí mo grab nínú ọ̀rọ̀ yìí nìyẹn ló fà á tẹ́ fi wá sọ pé bíbélì ni wọ́n recite tí Aisha ń sọ Aisha ń sọ̀rọ̀ bíbélì is a strange word for me ìgbọ̀rú ẹ̀rí láyé mi ẹ wo comment section wọ́n sọ pé irú kí leléyìí àríwú eléyìí ni o Mr. Fuad àgbọ̀ rí pé mo máa fún yín ládìí títí wọ́n ti ní kó máa fún àgbàlagbà lọ́mú mu in fact ìyàwó Muhammed fún àgbàlagbà lọ́mú mu so ẹ̀yin sọ fún wa ní ìsìn pé bíbélì ni wọ́n ń tẹ̀lé kán sọ àwọn èèyàn lókùúta pa ó wà nù àdìtì in fact Muhammed ní kán sọ obìnrin kan lókùúta pa torí pé ó ṣàgbèrè kán gé ọwọ́ ẹni ó wà nù Kùránì yín but you run away from that you are quoting the Bible now kókó tá à ń ṣe lálẹ́ yìí ni pé ṣé Quran wà preserved mo tún fún yín ní àyà Kùránì kan Surah 37 àyà 12 we have lot of these ayahs we have lot of it ẹni into recitation ni o kò yàtọ̀ whereas ó yàtọ̀ síra wọn gbogbo àwọn èèyàn tó gbọ́.
You didn't understand.
Bala jipta wayas karum Bala jiptu wayas karum Mr. Baby Code fún yín ní àpẹẹrẹ tá a bá sọ ilé ulé nítòótọ́ pronunciation wọn yàtọ̀ ṣùgbọ́n ìtumọ̀ wọn ò yàtọ̀ so tó bá jẹ́ bẹ́ẹ̀ ni Kùránì ni àbá agree pẹ̀lú ṣùgbọ́n nígbà tá a wá wo Kùránì a wá rí pé pronunciation yàtọ̀ ṣùgbọ́n ìtumọ̀ wọn náà tún wá yàtọ̀ ìyẹn túmọ̀ sí pé wá jẹ́ ká béèrè pé èwo làlá preserve nínú méjèèjì.
àbí
ṣé báàlà jíìpù ni àlá preserve ni àbí báàlà jíìpù.
àdẹ̀tí ní more than 37 kérásì lénìí.
àdẹ̀tí ní oríṣiríṣi bẹ́ẹ̀ tó pọ̀ yamùrà tá a lè challenge láti wá defend fún wa lọ́jọ́ míì so gbogbo tẹ́ ń sọ lálẹ́ yìí àwọn èèyàn tó wà ní comment section rí bí ìgbà tẹ́ ń fún wa ní ègé tẹ́ ń gé wa ní legova ṣùgbọ́n àwa wà níbí láti gba legova yín àwa wà níbí nítorí tá a ṣe gbé yín wá ní pé à ń kíyèsí pé àwọn aráalé tó wà ní comment section kọ́ máa mọ ìdí tá a ṣe gbé mùsùlùmí wá kì í ṣe pé àmọ́mọ́ gbé wọn wá láti wá kàn máa tàbùkù àbí láti wá ṣe yẹ̀yẹ́ rárá tá a bá dúró láwa nìkan bí tá à ń sọ̀rọ̀ táwa jẹ́ kìrìsìtẹ́nì wọ́n á ní à ń ba ẹ̀sìn wọn jẹ́ ni àwa là ń tàbùkù ẹ̀sìn wọn la ṣe ń gbé mùsùlùmí wá kán wá sọ̀rọ̀ á fún wọn láàyè ó purọ́ ni ó sòdodo ni àwa náà máa gbọ́ ẹ má jẹ́ kó bí wa nínú ìdí nìyẹn tẹ́gbẹ́ tó má ti sọ̀rọ̀ tán àwa náà ní láti fi àlàyé tiwa sí ìyí tá à ń ṣe lọ́wọ́ nìyẹn kì í ṣe pé bí àmọ́mọ́ gbé wọn wá kán wá ṣàwẹ́ wa kán wá kó wa ṣòfò tá a bá gbọ́ látẹnu mùsùlùmí ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ní onímọ̀rúrọ́ tí wọ́n ń pa fún àwọn èèyàn so ètò yìí máa tú àyè sílẹ̀ fún mùsùlùmí láti wá sọ tẹnu wọn táwọn náà bá gbọ́ nǹkan sọ tó bá jẹ́ òdodo ni a gbọ́ tó bá jẹ́ irọ́ ni àwa náà rí pé àṣé nǹkan tí fàtí kododo sọ láti jọ àṣòdodo ni àṣé nǹkan tí olùfẹ́ tó sọ láti àṣòdodo ni ìtì bryce kẹ́ sọ àṣòdodo ni lẹ́nu ẹ̀ ẹ̀yin náà ti gbọ́ nǹkan sọ lálẹ́ ní ìsìn ó kù sọ wà wá
emergency stars wọn nípa à ń bẹ̀rù wọn lẹ́rù ń bà wá ni.
à ń bẹ̀rù ni. Hello. Ẹ kúrò lẹ́ o.
Yẹ̀sà mo ń gbádùn prógámù iṣẹ́ rí wọ́n ti tèmi mọ̀ ní wípé kò sí bẹ́ẹ̀ ṣe fẹ́ sọ ọmọ máa yí ni for example dáa béèrè kí nìkan lọ́wọ́ àpáyẹ kọ́ dẹ̀ ṣàlàyé fún gbogbo èèyàn ká gbọ́ Quran chapter 2 verse 29 pẹ̀lú Quran 41 8 to 12 pẹ̀lú Quran 79 27 to 30 fún ṣàlàyé àárín yẹn fún wa tí àlà ló sọ̀rọ̀ ńgbà àbíta ló sọ̀rọ̀ because bí wọ́n ṣe dáhùn wọn wáyé ó yàtọ̀ síra wọn nínú gbogbo àwọn báṣẹ̀sì yẹn wọ́n takora wọn so ìwúlò tó ń bẹ̀ ẹ bá ń bè lọ́wọ́ wọn lè sọ ká
ok ẹ jẹ́ kí
àwọn náà lè kálẹ̀ dọ̀wọ́.
All right, Pastor Fọlárin ṣé mo lè ẹ jẹ́ kí n dáhùn question man tó béèrè.
2 minutes ẹ jọ̀ọ́ nítorí a fẹ́ parí ètò ní
ok ẹ jọ̀ọ́ ẹ bá mi rephrase question ti.
Aya 2 Quran chapter 2 verse 29.
Surah 2:29.
Okay, Quran 2:29.
Surah
Okay.
41, 8 to 12.
41, 8 to 12.
Okay, Quran 41, sorry.
Àti kẹta, kí ni kẹta? Kí ni kẹta?
Ìkẹta ni 79, 79, 27 to 30.
27 to 30. Ṣé ti rí àwọn súrà kan pè yín? Wọ́n ní ìdá ayé àti ọ̀run wọ́n ṣe kọ́ síbẹ̀ yàtọ̀ síra wọn. Kí ló dé?
Okay, Quran 41 verse 8. Abi, as to those 8 to 12. Okay, as to those who believe and do good works, for them surely is a reward, and that will never end. Then, do you really disbelieve in Allah who created earth in 2 days? And do you set up equals to him? That is the Lord of the world. He placed therein firm mountains. So what's the contradiction, sir?
Ẹ̀ka ìtókù náà. Ẹ̀ka ìtókù kẹwàá wo kẹwàá sọ ilé ìtọ́nà kọ́kọ́ dá mi mo fẹ́ mọ̀.
Àti
Surah 4, 8 to 12, 41, 8 to 12 lẹ́ka yẹn túkà ìkejì. Surah 29, Surah 20,
chapter 2.
Surah 2 kini?
229.
Surah 229, okay.
And again, 79, 27 to 30.
Surah 229, Mr. Fuad, ẹ̀ka yẹn náà. Kó ṣó talímọ̀ ìtẹ́ kọ́kọ́ kà yẹn.
Quran kí lẹ pè? 29.
229.
Okay, Quran 229. Okay.
229.
Okay, no wahala. I'm with you.
Kò sí wàhálà, bá a dá mọ́. Ó wà lójú
Okay. It is who created for you all that is in the earth. Then he turned towards the heaven. He perfected them as 7 heaven, and he knows all things. So what?
79. Ẹ̀ka 79 kẹwàá sọ ilé tó jẹ́ tó kọ́kọ́ tó látàlá kọ́kọ́ pé kí náà. 79, 27 to 30.
27 to 30. Yeah. Lastly, Mr. Fuad, 79.
Okay, that means. Metal. Okay, sorry, Munshi, sorry.
27 to 30.
Just hold on.
Kókó tó ń bèrè ní pé èwo làlá àkọ́kọ́ dá ayé ni àbí ọ̀run. Ní tó ń bèrè nìyẹn. Èwo ló kọ́kọ́ tó láti pé rìpọ́ọ̀tù yàtọ̀ síra wọn.
Quran 79, wait now. Quran 79, verse what?
79. Ẹ̀ka 79, 27 to 30. Òun ní ìkẹta.
79, 27
to 30. Kẹwàá sọ lè tọ́lọ̀ dálà kọ́kọ́ dá ní gbogbo nǹkan tó ti dá yàtọ̀.
Okay, now Quran.
Wait,
Quran 79, 27. Are you other? Okay. Are you other to create or the heaven that he has built? He has raised the height thereof and has made it perfect. He has made its ninth and has brought forth the moon. So I don't see any contradiction here.
Contradiction.
I don't see any contradiction here.
I
don't see any contradiction here.
Nígbà tẹ́ ṣí 229 ìwọ náà kọ́ dá ńbẹ̀.
It is who created for you all that is in the earth.
Okay. Ẹ wá wo 79 àyà 27 ìwọ náà kọ́ dá ìwọ náà tó wá dá ńbẹ̀.
79.
Ìwọ 27.
Are you other to create or the heaven that he has built?
Ìwọ làlá àkọ́kọ́ dá ayé ni àbí heaven.
There's no contradiction here. Kò sí contradiction kan bẹ́ẹ̀. It's not. There's no contradiction here. So I don't see any contradiction here.
God bless you, Mr. Fuad. Give us 1 minute conclusion so that we round it up.
Okay, the 1 minute conclusion is that I believe that with this conversation today, I believe that the Christian brothers all watching here have been convinced that the Quran, as a book that has been committed to memory, is the only infallible book And because the Quran is a book of recitation, the Prophet allowed some tribes who cannot pronounce another tribe to pronounce it, because there's a way to there's a way of making pronunciation, just like Waduhe, Izaseje, and but some people will call it Wadua, Waleli, Izaseje. So it's only deals with recitation. So the Quran is the most preserved book. And we also saw that I was able to prove to you that the goat ate the Bible and not the Quran, So this is, and I know that with many Christians who will watch this will want to come to Islam, because they will see that their book is not in perfect condition. It has, unlike the Quran, which we are still using the Uthman text from for more than 1,500 years.
Thank you.
So that's just it. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And when should we come again for the other topic?
No problem. We
So,
will discuss that.
can you continue, sir? Yeah, Mr. Fuad. Yeah, I want to really thank you. Mo fẹ́ dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ yín gan. Ṣé ẹ understand fún ètò yìí? Lóòótọ́, èmi gẹ́gẹ́ bí bébé kò ní ò tí ì meet yín ní face to face rí. Ṣé get? Ọmọdé ní gbàgbọ́ pé tá bá pàdé lójúkorojú, ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ àǹfààní wà gẹ́gẹ́ bí èèyàn tá lè ṣe fúnra wa, bíá business wise or ẹ mọ̀ pé ẹ ní gbàdúrà káburú ṣẹlẹ̀ sí mi, èmi náà dẹ̀ ní gbàdúrà kí aburú ṣẹlẹ̀ sí yín. So we can have conversation like this. Nígbà mi sẹ́ kó máa look tense, it's normal. Ṣé get it báyẹn? But it's good that we have peaceful dialogue and then we know our differences. So not knowing our differences, we won't really lead you astray. But when we know our differences, we know the area of our strongness. Níbi tí ẹ pé tí bá nídìí ẹ̀kún yín mo lè pè yín sí, tẹ́ lè pè mí sí. Ṣé understand bẹ́ẹ̀? So tó bá ní àwọn kankan méjì mẹ́ta tó ti jáde bí a ní conversations wa tó mú yín bínú àbí kankan. So tó àwọn stand yẹn kò change o, but máa bẹ̀ yín kẹ́ má bínú. Ṣé understand pé àlàáfíà èèyàn ni gbogbo wa. So àlàáfíà náà ni a fẹ́ ká fi máa gbé. So ẹ ṣé gan, inú mi rí lè dùn pé ẹ lè wá sórí ètò wa láti wá ṣe presentation yìí. Ṣé understand? Either I agree àbí I disagree pẹ̀lú yín, it's a good thing. Ṣé understand? Ọlọ́run á dẹ̀ túbọ̀ máa ràn gbogbo wa lọ́wọ́. Ẹ ṣé gan. All right, sir.
God bless you. Now, let me quickly give Bra Isaac Ogunshola, you are not getting the point. A mọ̀ pé àwọn Mùsùlùmí ò ní fún yàn láyè ní orí program láti wá ṣe, but we are not like them. Ṣẹ́rí, tí Christian bá jókòó táwa nìkan dá sọ̀rọ̀, it won't speak well. Àwa ìwòye tiwa ní pé ká gbọ́ látọ̀dọ̀ àwọn Mùsùlùmí náà, and we should, ẹ bá ní káwọn èèyàn kan ní view, let's hear from them. In fact, a mọ̀ nǹkan tí wọ́n sọ, ṣùgbọ́n kì í ṣe pé bíyà we are not here to káwa pé we shut some people down. No, we are not shutting anybody down. We want to listen to his reasoning. We want to listen how he reason. Àwọn àyín náà ti gbọ́ ní ìṣẹ́ ti rí pé irú kílẹ̀ gbọ́ lálẹ́ yìí ó jẹ́ ìyàlẹ́nu fún yín. In tá a fẹ́ achieve láti achieve yẹn. So tá a bá ń sọ̀rọ̀ nípa Islam fáwọn aráalé, wọn ò ní máa wò pé wọ́n ṣe máa ronú bẹ́ẹ̀, ìrọ̀lẹ́ ń pa, kò possible jàre. Lẹ́nu yín, lẹ́nu ara Mùsùlùmí láti gbọ́ lálẹ́ pé Kùránì àdìtì ń sọ̀rọ̀ nípa Bíbélì. Ẹnu aráalé la fi gbọ́ pé ká fún àgbàlagbà lọ́mú mu pé nu Bible ló wà, kò sínú Kùránì. So àwọn nǹkan wọ̀nyí ti jẹ́ ká mọ̀ pé Islam ó ń lọ síbi ká pè ní ẹ̀tàn o, torí pé ó ti hàn gbangba. Ṣùgbọ́n tó bá jẹ́ wà nìkan la kàn ń ṣètò tá a bù wọ́n gbọ́ àbí bù wọ́n ṣe, yóò dàbí ìpa one sided. Ìdí tá a fi ń pè, in fact, a tún máa ní more Muslim láti wá ẹ̀ tún gbọ́ wìnrìnwìnrìn lọ́jọ́ míì. So ẹ̀yin aráalé, ẹ má jẹ́ ká rí bí, ẹ jẹ́ ká ní sùúrù. Ẹ jẹ́ ká, torí tá bá la gbé òtítọ́ lọ́wọ́, òtítọ́ tí ò bá lè fi gagbága pẹ̀lú ẹlòmíì, ìyẹn ò ń ṣe òtítọ́. Tá a bá gbọ́ òtítọ́ dání, kò nílò ká wá ní àwa nìkan la gbọ́dọ̀ sọ̀rọ̀, ẹ jẹ́ káwọn náà sọ̀rọ̀. Inú ọ̀rọ̀ wọn láti máa kẹ́kọ̀ọ́ bí wọ́n ti ń ronú nípa Bíbélì. Inú ẹ̀kọ́ wọn láti máa kẹ́kọ̀ọ́ bí wọ́n ti ń ṣe àtakò Bíbélì, bí wọ́n ti ń dáhùn ìbéèrè nípa Kùránì. Níbẹ̀ láò ti mọ̀ pé eléyìí ó dà pé ó kù díẹ̀ káàtó. Àwa tá a bá jẹ́ kán sọ, á dàbí pé àwa gan ò ní lóye bí wọ́n ti ń ronú. Tẹ́ bá pàdé irúfẹ́ èèyàn báyìí nígboro ní ìṣẹ́ ti mọ̀, ẹ ti ní idea irú nǹkan tó ń sọ, kò lè jẹ́ àjèjì sí yín mọ́. Ìdí tá a ṣe ń gbé wọn wá nìyẹn, má bínú, tó lè dàbí pé ó bí ẹlòmíì nípa irú kílé, ó ń fa àkókò wa òṣòfò àti kẹ́kọ̀ọ́ kan lọ́nà kan àbí ọ̀nà míì. Ní conclusion tèmi ni pé Kùránì ò wà preserved o. One, a kà ń bẹ̀ pé àwọn àyà kan wà tá a rí inú Kùránì mọ́ lẹ́ni. A kà nínú àdìtì pé Ibn Masud Quran ó yàtọ̀ sí ti Hafs Quran, ó yàtọ̀ sí kí lorúkọ ẹnìkejì yẹn, Abu àbí ṣé kí lorúkọ ẹnìkejì, Ibn Masud àti mo ti gbàgbé ẹnì kejì, ìkan ní 116 chapter, ìkan ní 114 chapter tí wọ́n lò lé ní, ìkan ní 111 chapters. Kò dẹ̀ sínú àwọn Kùránì yẹn lé ní. In fact, àwọn Shia sọ pé about 6,000 kìíní kan verses ló wà ní Kùránì, about thousands of verses has been lost. Àti oríṣiríṣi afúnyín lápẹẹrẹ àdìtì tó sọ pé verses of stone àti ká máa mú àgbàlagbà ló ń mu, ó ti sọnù. Àti fún yín ní àdìtì tó sọ pé àwọn kan wà tí àwọn ń ká lé ní ṣùgbọ́n àwọn ò rí mọ́, àdẹ̀rí verse nínú Kùránì mọ́ lé ní. A fún yín ní verse tó jẹ́ pé Surah 37 ya 12 tó sọ pé bala jipta wayas karun, ìkan ní bala jiptu wayas karun. Ìbéèrè ni pé ta ni èwo gangan ni Allah sọ kalẹ̀ nínú méjèèjì? Mr. Fuadi ní pronunciation ni kò túnrun púpọ̀ lára wọn, kò yẹ kó jọ wá lẹ́nu, ó sì yà wá lẹ́nu. Èwo gangan ni Allah sọ kalẹ̀? Ta ló ń wọ́ndà, Allah ni àbí Muhammad? Ìbéèrè yìí wà fún gbogbo mùsùlùmí tó wá máa dáhùn ìbéèrè yìí. Àwọn tó bá lè jẹ́ mùsùlùmí tó rí pé Mr. Fuadi wọn nǹkan tán ṣe ó tàbùkù ẹ̀yin mùsùlùmí, ẹ̀yin náà lè pè wá níjà pé you can do better than Mr. Fuadi. Inú mi dùn, gbogbo mùsùlùmí ló ti sá fún tọ́pìkì, wọn ò fẹ́ ṣe. Mr. Fuadi ló sì yóò ń lé yẹ kí n agree pẹ̀lú wọn, àwọn lọ́yàn dára wọn pé àwọn fẹ́ ṣe tọ́pìkì. Gbogbo mùsùlùmí tí mo ti bi léèrè preservation of the Quran, wọ́n rí pé tọ́pìkì tó lágbára ni. Kí lórúkọ ọkùnrin tó wà ní US yìí, ó ní there is holes in standard narratives, Yasa Kadri. So nǹkan ńlá ni, ìṣòro ńlá ni fún mùsùlùmí láti defend tọ́pìkì, ó léwu gan, ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ wọn kì í fẹ́ sọ̀rọ̀ lọ síbẹ̀. So a kí Mr. Fuadi bó ti jẹ́ pé gbogbo nǹkan tí wọ́n sọ, ẹ rí pé nígbà tí wọ́n ṣe náà ìwé náà ni wọ́n kà fún wa, wọ́n láwọn ò lè fún wa ní ìwé yẹn, pé ìwé àwọn ni àwọn ò lè fún wa ní reference yẹn, a sì rí pé ìwé lẹ kà fún wa throughout. Inú wa máa dùn tá bá lè fún wa lẹ́yìn ètò, Ọlọ́run á ràn yín lọ́wọ́. Ṣùgbọ́n táwa ń gbà yín yànjú ni pé gbogbo tẹ́ sọ kò sí òdodo níbẹ̀, ìwòye tèmi nìyẹn o, pé Bíbélì ni ewúrẹ́ jẹ rárá, pé inú Bíbélì ni wọ́n ti ní ká máa fàgbàlagbà ló mu rárá. Kùránì yín wọ́n náà recite Surah 2 ayé 1 sì sọ pé kò sí ìta fún yín, a máa fún yín ní better or similar. Kùránì ni Allah ti reveal kì í ṣe inú Bíbélì. Gbogbo tẹ́ sọ yẹn bí ìgbà téèyàn ń shift responsibility lèmi kà á sí. Mo fẹ́ kẹ́ mú dúró yín, ẹ take responsibility tó wà lórí Quran tẹ́ ń gbé dání yẹn, ẹ má shift responsibility. Ìmọ̀ràn mi fún yín nìyẹn o, àti gbogbo àwọn tí ẹ má gbàgbé Kùránì tó wà ó lé ní 41, about 41 of Arabic Quran. Èwo gangan ni Allah sọ kalẹ̀, èwo la preserve níbẹ̀? Ìbéèrè tí Baby Code béèrè ni pé a manuscript tí wọ́n pín sí ọ̀nà 5, Basra, Syria, Kufra àti Mega àti gbogbo àwọn ibi tán pín wọn sí, èwo gangan ni ó jẹ́ Kùránì lénìí tó a lè fìdí ẹ̀ múlẹ̀ pé ó wà preserved? Ìbéèrè yìí kó máa tawọ́ tasẹ̀ nínú àwọn mùsùlùmí tó bá ń gbọ́ wa. Ní táwọn sọ lálẹ́ iná ni pé Kùránì ò wà preserved o. Fún wọn tó bá ti ń gbé léjú tán ti tàn ẹ́ jẹ́ pé Quran is preserved, ẹ má jẹ́ kán tàn ẹ́ jẹ́ o, it's not preserved. Now ẹ má gbàgbé Quran week wa, ara tọ́pìkì náà ṣọlá àṣìmá treat June 8 to June 12 to 18 la máa ṣe. A ní àwọn Christian tí ó dá wa lẹ́kọ̀ọ́, a ní mùsùlùmí tí ó dá wa lẹ́kọ̀ọ́. Tá a bá rí mùsùlùmí tó ń dá wa lẹ́kọ̀ọ́, ẹ má jẹ́ ká bínú, ẹ jẹ́ kó hear view ẹ̀. Ṣebí tiwa ni ká gbọ́ view ẹ̀, a lè padà wá ká wá yànnàná nǹkan tó sọ, a lè padà wá ká wá tú gbogbo pẹrẹpẹrẹ tó bá sọ. Ẹ má jẹ́ kó ṣàjòjì lára wa, ẹ má dé kárí bí awẹ́wà àbí àṣàwàdà rárá. Ẹ jọ̀ọ́ ẹ má bínú fún àti ètò tá a ṣe lálẹ́ ó bí wa nínú, ẹ má jẹ́ kó bí wa nínú. Bí ìwòye wa ṣe rí nìyẹn, a kàn lè jókòó ká máa sọ gbogbo ẹ̀, ká má fún àwọn náà láàyè láti sọ̀rọ̀. A dì láǹfààní, Ọlọ́run fún wa lórí ọ̀fẹ́ láti yànnàná ohunkóhun tí wọ́n bá sọ, tá a rí pé eléyìí irọ́ ni, eléyìí kò bó òtítọ́, àwo sì sọ́kò wọn lójú. Ẹ rí pé a sọ́kò wọn lójú nísìn. Mr. Fuadi ní pé rárá ó rọ̀ǹgì láti sọ bẹ́ẹ̀, ṣùgbọ́n ìwòye tèmi gbòye nìyẹn pé ẹni tó kọ Sunnah Ibn Majah ìsára kó ti mọ̀ gógóró yó, àbí kan ti nà lápánsá, àbí kí nǹkan ti ṣe, àbí kí epo tí wọ́n nílùú wọn kó wá wọn wò kí ni mo lè ṣe tèmi náà fi dá wàhálà lẹ̀. Ẹ jẹ́ kí n sọ pé ewúrẹ́ ti jẹ Kùránì jàre. Gẹ́gẹ́ bí Mr. Fuadi sọ pé ẹ̀rọ burúkú ni hadith yẹn. So èmi náà sì gbà pẹ̀lú yín pé Quran itself is error, hadith itself is error, Islam gangan error ni. Why are you a Muslim? À ń pè ọ́ wá sọ́dọ̀ Jésù, Jésù là ní kó wá tẹ̀lé. Jésù nìkan lẹni tó pé, kì í ṣe ìwé. Jésù nìkan lẹni pípé, kì í ṣe ẹnikẹ́ni. Jésù lolúwa o. Ìpàdé wa tó jọjọ́ mi ọjọ́ rẹ̀. God bless you.